Hello everyone, I'm very glad that you listened to my story. Please give me a follow and like the video if you enjoyed it. Feel free to comment and provide feedback so I can improve the sound quality. Yes, I will now continue the unfinished story. Chapter 13, Mana at Red Twill Mountain. It wasn't just Li Tianming that didn't understand what Lu Qing was talking about. Most of the crowd, including even Madame Mo and Li Zifeng, had no idea that there were others participating in the selection. After all, there were only so many competitors in the vicinity of Flame Haven, all of them renowned. Li Yanfan's gaze towards Li Tianming turned even colder, but as he turned back to face someone else, a gentle smile appeared, tenderness and praise written all over his face. Qian Yang, although you came from another place, you're also a citizen of Flame Haven given that I have married your sister. He looked at a boy about the age of 15 sitting behind him, immediately putting him in the limelight. The teenagers in Flame Haven are way too inexperienced, and have no idea what a real prodigy is capable of. You may be young, but remember, as my brother-in-law, you have higher seniority than them all. Now go show them true talent. Go, Qian Yang. Lu Qing urged the boy, while still holding onto Li Yanfan's hand. That was enough information for everyone. This boy, Lu Qian Yang, was Lu Qing's brother, meaning he was also from the Lightning Manor. The first wife's brother is considered part of Flame Haven as well. So the governor wants him to contest for the Flame Yellow Order as well? Did they just agree on this, or had they planned this all along? Most people were taken by surprise, considering that this didn't look like a spontaneous decision. Li Yanfan apparently never intended to hand the order over to Li Zifeng, which explained why the order wasn't passed to him, despite announcing him as the heir. The two sons were fighting over the prize, but it was actually prepared for his bride's brother. No one dared to question or contest the governor, and the entire place was dead silent. Everyone stared at the boy from Lightning Manor as he rose up from his seat atop Zephyr Tower. As people gradually got a clearer look, it was blatantly obvious that the so-called geniuses of Flame Haven were fireflies compared to this real prodigy. He looked younger than Li Zifeng, his skin a pale white and his looks resembling Lu Qing's. He had an elegant and intelligent look, and his eyes sparkled like gems in the dark. Perhaps most impressive was the grace that infused his every movement. Only a colossus like the Lightning Manor could nurture someone with such aptitude. In comparison, the noisy, ruthless Li Zifeng was nowhere close to Lu Qian Yang. Lu Qianyang's appearance alone was enough to gain the praises of the crowd, just as he was surely capable of making people forget about the youths of Flame Haven. Qian Yang, if you want the Flame Yellow Order, you have to earn it. Lu Qing advised as she adjusted his clothing. Yes, sister, and thank you, brother-in-law. The boy was very polite, giving him a gentle and obedient image. But that in no way meant he was weak, as everyone knew what his appearance meant. Li Yanfan was still one step ahead of Li Tianming. Li Tianming thought that by defeating Li Zifeng, he could obtain the Flame Yellow Order, but he hadn't expected the existence of Lu Qian Yang, especially as the true recipient of the Flame Yellow Order. From the warmth Li Yanfan was showing Lu Qian Yang, everyone knew that he had made this decision long ago. After all, he never even showed his two sons this kind of care before. To be honest, Li Tianming felt like he underestimated how low Li Yanfan's bottom line was. More importantly, the sight of Lu Qianyang's face, one that resembled a girl's, had dredged up a memory or two. 3 years ago, Lin Xiaoting of Lightning Manor had many followers, some of them as young as 11 or 12. Even if the boy in front of him had grown up, Li Tianming could roughly remember his appearance back then. That's right, Li Tianming had seen Lu Qianyang 3 years ago. Having obtained permission from Li Yanfan, Lu Qianyang leapt off Zephyr Tower, his crystal-clear eyes locked onto Li Tianming. Li Tianming, when Big Brother Xiaoting executed your life-bound beast, I was there to witness it. Indeed, it was him. In his desperation and rage that day, Li Tianming had burned every face from Lightning Manor into his memory to keep track of who his enemies were, and that included this kid right here. Of course, he was now a young boy. You were just this tiny bit close to getting the Flame Yellow Order. What a shame. It's troublesome to get the order in the competitive environment of Ignis Follies, so I chose the easy way of entering the Institute through Flame Haven instead. As he landed onto the stage, Li Tianming stated his purpose here. As the brother-in-law of the governor of Flame Haven, this was by all means a legal move. From his words, Li Zifeng was fated to be a joke today too, as his limit was the position as heir, while the Flame Yellow Order was an unreachable dream. The real prodigy of Lightning Manor stood at heights that Li Zifeng would never match. Your attempt at a comeback today was not bad. Too bad it's nothing but a final attempt. Do you know why Big Brother Xiaoting didn't want to kill you? It was because he didn't want to destroy all your hopes. After all, it's far more entertaining to see you struggle, no? A cold smile crept up his cheeks. Li Tianming wasn't the good boy he appeared to be, with every word he spoke intended to crush Li Tianming's will. One of the main reasons why Li Tianming wanted to return to Flame Yellow Science Institute was to seek his vengeance on this bunch of geniuses, but who knew one would find his way all the way to Flame Haven? It really does sound funny when you put it that way. I'll struggle mightily to change my fate, only for you to crush me again. Li Tianming narrowed up his eyes. Your self-confidence is quite delicious. Let's not waste time, let me see how much you've improved in these 3 years. As he spoke, Li Tianming summoned his life-bound beast. Flame Haven consisted mostly of avian beasts, but things were different today when a cheetah leapt out from behind Li Tianming. The cheetah was swift yet massive, its claws razor sharp, and its distinct feature the bolts of lightning running through its body. It was a 5-star life-bound beast, the Lightning Bolt Cheetah, a lightning-type terrestrial beast. The Lightning Bolt Cheetah was a creature slightly stronger than the 4-winged Goldrock Li Tianming used to have. After all, 5 stars was the bare minimum for someone to be considered a prodigy in Lightning Manor. Li Tianming smiled, confident in his bloodline and his strength. A battle between a 4th and 9th level beast vein? Surely no sane individual would try that, since that would just be plain stupidity. Li Tianming just needed one glance to know that it would be a one-sided battle. The reason he could beat Li Zifeng was mostly because of his fire immunity. But against the lightning-type foe, the cheetah alone would make short work of the little chick. Well, let's test you if you are not going to respond. A thunderstorm brewed with a single palm from Li Tianming, bolstered by beast ki from his 9th level beast veins. It was a ghastly move, and just the pressure from the attack was enough to suffocate Li Tianming. Overwhelmed by the attack, Li Tianming was forced off the stage. As the storm persisted, the gust caught up with Li Tianming, forcing him back another 30 steps. The difference was simply too huge. With a difference of 5 levels, Li Tianming could barely stand straight in the face of the storm. Despite his raging hatred, Li Tianming remained rational. 3 years of hardship and tolerance had taught him what it took to be a hunter. A real hunter never tackles the beast head-on, but instead waits for the perfect moment to land a deadly strike. What happened today couldn't be altered, and he undoubtedly failed to achieve his goal. Nonetheless, Li Tianming had proven himself. By defeating Li Zifeng and shaming Li Yanfen, Li Tianming showed that he wasn't some trash that they could toss away on a whim. As he landed, Li Tianming looked up towards Li Tianming sitting on his lightning bolt cheetah, who said mildly, "Your beast ki can only reach the 6th level of beast vein. With this 1-star life-bound beast of yours, what difference is there from being crippled for life? If this is all you are capable of, then begone. You aren't worthy of being my opponent." Looking at how Li Tianming couldn't even put up a fight against Li Tianming, the crowd realized the difference between Flame Haven and Lightning Manor was beyond what they had ever imagined. This Li Tianming was younger than Li Zifeng, and yet he was 2 entire levels higher. Before I go, let me ask you a question. Everyone thought Li Tianming would be disheartened by now, but his composure turned a few heads. However, no one noticed the murderous look he was giving Li Tianming. He would return the humiliation of this palm back to him eventually. Sure, Li Tianming said, as his lightning bolt cheetah gradually grew impatient, growling restlessly. When will you be leaving Flame Haven? Li Tianming raised up his head. If Li Yanfen couldn't scare him, why should Li Tianming? Probably in a month's time. Li Tianming thought briefly. His sister was married, and he had obtained the Flame Yellow Order, so there was no reason for him to stay too long. A month felt more than sufficient. Very well. 1 month later, at this very place, I will punch that annoying mug of yours. If you lose, the Flame Yellow Order is mine. Do you dare accept my challenge? Yet again, Li Tianming made everyone's jaw drop. He had admitted defeat, and there was no doubt his opponent was way more talented than he was. 1 month later Li Tianming would be even stronger, while he would still be just hanging off his 1-star life-bound beast, so what even gave him the courage to issue that challenge? It wasn't like he could improve tremendously in just a month. What's in it for me? Li Tianming snorted. Just my life, said Li Tianming. The bet's on. My brother-in-law raised you, taught you how to cultivate, even sent you to the institute. Yet you betrayed his trust, committed crimes, and refused to repent for your wrongdoings even after being punished by Big Brother Xiaoting. Today was supposed to be a happy occasion, and yet you chose to disturb the peace. An ungrateful little bastard like you should be removed. If my brother-in-law can't bear to kill his own flesh and blood, I'll help him clean house. Li Tianming announced to everyone present at the Zephyr Square, the righteousness in his speech drawing praise, especially from the nobles in Zephyr Tower. Li Tianming laughed. What a touching speech. To add on to the irony, Li Yanfen had barely reacted to everything that Li Tianming said, making him almost doubt whether Li Yanfen was really his father. Throughout the past 3 years, Li Tianming had asked his mother this question multiple times, and since his mother never lied to him, he had to believe it was true. It was ironic indeed. An outsider from Lightning Manor, claiming to help Li Yanfen to get rid of his own son, and Li Yanfen didn't even react. What's more, he was holding this exact outsider's sister by the waist, staring at Li Tianming indifferently from up high. However, since he had long given up hope on Li Yanfen, he found it amusing rather than upsetting. So much for parenting. At least, he had secured one last chance to get the order. It was the only way for him to return to the institute, and also for Li Yanfen to send his mother and him out of the city with dignity. Everything that happened today, and the tricks Li Yanfen pulled off, would only delay this. The only real loser today was Li Zifeng, who was not only defeated by Li Tianming, but also had his Flame Yellow Order snatched away. As he gazed mutely at Li Tianming, he probably felt the same way as Li Tianming did when he was abandoned by their father. Karma sure worked in interesting ways. So he's going to challenge Li Tianming again in a month to compete for the Flame Yellow Order. Do you think that's possible? The governor said he was just relying on his past experience and he can never go beyond the Beast Vein stage. Then why did he act like he could compete with the prodigy of the Lightning Manor? Ha! Of course he had to at least retaliate a bit before leaving, or else what is he gonna do, just crawl out like a dog? As everyone laughed, they looked at Li Tianming sympathetically. In the end, he was just a clown, dreaming of his dramatic revenge stories. Little wonder Li Tianming didn't even bother with him. Only Li Tianming himself knew that his statements were not meant as a joke. He took a final look at Li Yanfen. On top of Zephyr Tower, the man had the young beauty in his arms, both of them chatting casually. Li Qianyang's appearance today had disrupted everything that Li Tianming had planned, getting Li Yanfen out of a tight situation. But could this be the end? Just you wait and see. Would it even take a month? Night fell, as a sense of victory lingered in the bridal room. Li Yanfen had a cup in his hand which Lu Qing refilled with alcohol constantly, the two of them clearly enjoying their time. Lu Qing's face was red from the alcohol, glowing faintly like a juicy peach. However, Li Yanfen was properly dressed and seated, the beauty clearly not the first thing on his mind right now. Yanfen, regarding the competition for mana at Red Twill Mountain, my brother will be relying on you. Lu Qing refilled the glasses yet again, before finishing her own portion. Her snow-white skin was especially charming in the candlelight. Don't you worry, Red Twill Mountain is my territory. Any mana there has my name written on it. Li Yanfen was very confident. Chapter 14, A Competition Between the Geniuses of Lightning Manor. Yanfen, I'm still worried. The competition is just too intense, especially since mana is a rare resource that can increase the number of stars a lifebound beast has. We all know what that means, Lu Qing said. Indeed. A lifebound beast's stars determine a Beastmaster's talent and his highest attainable cultivation realm. 5-star lifebound beasts, the best of Flame Haven, will only rank bottom in the Flame Yellow Science Institute. Li Yanfen nodded, fiddling with his glass of alcohol. If he can evolve his beast to a 6-star lifebound beast, then he will have a higher chance of interacting with Heaven's Sanctum. Of course, that'll also give you more power in Lightning Manor. Since time immemorial, the birth of mana has always caused a mad rush. Even if the one found this time is just the most basic mana, it'll still be priceless. Yanfen, we were truly lucky that it spawned in Red Twill Mountain, the outskirts of your Flame Haven. Only you can help Jianyang secure this rare resource and let him evolve his lightning bolt cheetah. Lu Qing threw Li Yanfen a wink while refilling his glass. Red Twill Mountain is just too large, its landscape covered by forests and rifts. There's far too many wild beasts hidden there, beasts with awakened innate abilities. It's a dangerous place, to put it mildly, Li Yanfen explained. To let their younger generations compete and grow in such conditions, it is no wonder Lightning Manor has its current heights. Of course. The competition will be intense, given that there are 7 other qualified disciples contesting for the loot. Thankfully, Jianyang is probably stronger than most of them, and he'll have your help too. He stands quite the chance, Lu Qing replied. When will the other juniors arrive? And who's accompanying them, experts from Lightning Manor? Soon. I was permitted to come earlier because of our wedding. Those kids will be protected by experts, but they have certain restrictions in place once they enter Red Twill Mountain, as this is supposed to be a trial for the younger generation. So the 2 of us will bring Jianyang into Red Twill Mountain 3 days later. Yes, every team will be entering the mountain at the same time on that day. Li Yanfen nodded his head. Mana is split into 4 tiers, royal, profound, terrestrial and celestial. Even the most basic royal mana can evolve a lifebound beast to 7 stars. How it works, its very existence, they remain an enigma. People can only assume it is the providence of the divine, which is why we call it mana. Top-tier mana is basically impossible to get hold of. The one we are looking at this time was just the most basic kind, one that can be barely considered royal mana, and yet the hunt for it is insane. Thankfully, the Lightning Manor has excellent intel and could reach here first. When Lu Qing mentioned Lightning Manor, her pride was glaringly evident. Li Yanfen knew that she would always be a member of Lightning Manor and never Flame Haven, even after she married him. But that didn't matter, since he too would become part of Lightning Manor. Li Tianming was surprised to see rain when he returned home, since the sky was clear earlier. Mother. He was afraid that his mother would be drenched by the rain. To his relief, he found her deep in slumber in her own room. How relaxed. Li Tianming didn't know whether to laugh or to cry. He was fighting for his dignity outside, while she was happily sleeping. He waited by her bedside. Night had already fallen when she finally awoke. She smiled sheepishly at the sight of Li Tianming, who was safe and sound by her bedside, and asked, "Where's the Flame Yellow Order? Should we be on our way now?" Li Tianming sighed at how confident his mother was. Yeah, I taught Zifeng a good lesson all right, but something happened. As a result, I didn't get the flame yellow order. And that something is? Wei Jing asked, to which Li Tianming explained the whole incident with Lu Qianyang. 1 more month? I don't want to wait for so long, Flame Haven is too hot, I want to live somewhere in the north, she grumbled, reminding Li Tianming of a child. There's no guarantee I can beat him after 1 month though. That's not my problem, I am giving you half a month at most. Her smile made it obvious that she was just joking with Li Tianming. All right, say what you want. When I lose to him and the little chick becomes the cheetah snack, you will know how cruel reality really is. Li Tianming smiled back. Bullshit. That pussy can dream on about eating me, cause I'm gonna peck its face off, the little chick snapped. Li Tianming snorted. Stop tooting your horn, who was the mouse on stage earlier on? Huh? You must be mistaken, because I can assure you it wasn't me. I was about to rip that cat's face off, but you just had to beg me to let it off. I generously decided to let it lie for another month, the little chick said somberly. I believe the little chick, it is very capable. Wei Jing looked at the little chick tenderly. See, my mum can appreciate me, unlike you, taunted the little chick, who leapt into Wei Jing's arms. Screw off, that's my mum, not yours. I'm rather sure she doesn't lay eggs. Li Tianming was speechless with how familiar the little chick was making itself. Yeah right. I was in your life-bound space and I was born when you were. If she's not my mother, are you telling me it's you? Mommy Tianming, the little chick retaliated. It was actually quite true when Li Tianming thought about it. Like most Beastmasters, Li Tianming treated his life-bound beast like a sibling and then some. They fought together and cultivated together, a relationship even siblings didn't have. He had treasured Midas more than his own life, and while he had only been together with this little chick for a dozen odd days, their bond could only grow firmer. Hey, since she's your mother too, why not let her name you? It's too much trouble to call you little chick all the time. Li Tianming had a sudden idea. My name is Eternal Infernal Phoenix, the little chick proclaimed proudly. Too long, we need a nickname. Mother, you can have the honors. Li Tianming knew his mother had a good naming sense since she was very well educated. She was the one who named Li Tianming, which meant fate. Me. Wei Jing brought the little chick to eye level and thought briefly, before saying, for 3 years, Tianming had fumbled around in the dark. You, and you alone, brought light back to his life. Though you may be small and weak right now, you gave us hope, like fireflies in the black night. Therefore, your name will be Yinghuo, Firefly. What do you think? Me, Yinghuo. The little chick froze up, perhaps already feeling a special connection with the name. But it's not cheeky enough, and doesn't match its image. That's false advertising. Li Tianming smiled. No. I want this name. That triggered the little chick, who flew into a frenzy trying to peck Li Tianming to death. Haha. It was hence decided that the Eternal Infernal Phoenix would get a new name, Yinghuo. Li Tianming hardly considered the day a success. He had failed to make Li Yanfen bow before him, and he thought it would be a sorry night. But with mother being so relaxed, and the little chick so cheerful, he still managed to lay down his burdens for the night and have a good laugh. This was what home truly feels like. A mother that's unconditionally confident in her son, forever showering her son with love and care. A brother that he could joke around with, but would also fight together till their last breath. He was expecting more siblings to join him as well, since there were still 9 eggs, with one of them already showing signs of hatching. Li Tianming couldn't wait for this new member of the family. The only regrettable matter was that his mother looked even older under the candlelight. The knowledge that she could just leave him anytime frightened him even more than the prospect of his own death. We're out of clear spirit grass, the only thing that can make mother's life easier. It was already the middle of the night, but Li Tianming was still deep in thought. I'll put aside Lu Qianyang and the Flame Yellow Order for now. I'll make a trip to the Red Twill Mountain now and try to gather more clear spirit grass. Before my strength recovered, each trip to Red Twill Mountain was accompanied by life-threatening dangers, which was why Mother didn't allow me to go. But I can convince her now that I'm a lot stronger. The clear spirit grass wasn't exactly a precious herb, but the main problem was its scarcity. Most people had no use for it, making it hard to come by in the market. The only source was Red Twill Mountain. For the next 2 days, Li Tianming helped to prepare everything his mother needed for a while. Although her life-bound beast was also sick, it could still help her in crucial moments. It's alright if you can't find any, just remember to come back as soon as possible. Even when the time arrived for him to take his leave, Wei Jing was reluctant. She knew she didn't have much time left, and all she wanted was to have Li Tianming by her side. Of course. Li Tianming said, before embarking on his next journey. Next stop, Red Twill Mountain. Chapter 15, Goddess on Earth. The terrain around Red Twill Mountain was rough, covered mostly by hills and forests occupied by deadly wild beasts and venomous creatures. It was a place where only the fittest could survive. Countless corpses of both men and beast were hidden under the mushy soil and dead leaves, forgotten by the rest of the world. It only got more dangerous at night, with a vision-suppressing fog and the constant threat of being attacked by deadly creatures. Li Tianming had spent 2 days on the outskirts of the mountain, where there were many others trying to gather plants and herbs, so there was little reward. Now, with his cultivation having returned, he decided to venture further in. I wonder if they sell clear spirit grass in Ignispalis. If they don't, I better prepare more, Li Tianming muttered. Ignispalis was the capital of the Vermilion Bird. Not only were Flame Yellow Science Institute and Lightning Manor located in Ignispalis, it was also home to the Vermilion Bird clan, the rulers of the nation. Even after 2 days of non-stop searching, Li Tianming could only find a single clear spirit grass. Please let there be more in the deeper parts of the mountain. The deeper parts were dangerous places that even skilled and experienced Beastmasters would not venture into. After all, wild beasts were fundamentally different from life-bound beasts. The latter were intelligent creatures capable of communicating with each other, whereas wild beasts were not capable of thinking and relied on hunting others to get stronger. That is, a fire lingzi. On their 3rd day in the inner parts of the mountain, Li Tianming and Ying Huo found a rare lingzi mushroom on a hard-to-reach cliff. The lingzi even burned when a beam of sunlight shone onto it. Let me do it. The little chick flapped its wings, picking the mushroom off the cliff in the blink of an eye. Time to run. The duo left resolutely after picking the herb. After all, natural treasures like this were often guarded by wild beasts. Spirit herbs were beneficial even to the wild beasts, but they were cautious about it. Consuming the lingzi directly would cause the spiritual energy to implode inside the wild beast's body, killing it immediately. This was why treasures like these were left there, to be absorbed at their guardian's leisure. The world was filled with spiritual energy, and if ores could absorb these energy from the ground to form spirit ores, plants could too. After spending enough time in absorbing spiritual energy from their atmosphere, these plants would slowly develop heavenly patterns. Just like spirit ores, plants that developed heavenly patterns were known as spirit herbs, their quality determined by the color of their heavenly patterns. Similar to the spirit ores, there were 9 different colors ranging from red to white, with red ones being the most common and white heavenly patterns being the rarest. Clear spirit grass only has red heavenly patterns, and can be considered as the lowest tier of spirit herbs. That said, it still has significant medical uses. Li Tianming exclaimed while studying the fire lingzi. It had a slightly charred orange heavenly pattern, which suggested that the fire lingzi was a tier 2 spirit herb. Excellent, here's your share. Just as Li Tianming was thinking how much he could sell the fire lingzi for, the little chick tore it into half, and the spiritual energy inside the herb began to dissipate. What are you doing? Nincompoop. If I can eat spirit ores, then what is stopping me from eating this? Ying Huo glared at him while tossing half the plant into his face. Before he knew it, the little chick had already pecked down a good portion of its share of the fire lingzi. Wow, I'm burning. For all its boasting, Ying Huo's skin was now burning, and the little fireball began to hop around madly. Yes, that hits the spot. The eternal infernal phoenix was indeed an amazing creature, capable of tolerating such a strong burst of energy. It even started to use the eternal infernal codex to refine the energy from the herb. In comparison, other beasts would never consume it like this, and would probably take a dozen days to slowly refine and absorb it. Li Tianming, I dare you to eat it, though I doubt if you have the balls. Heh, Ying Huo taunted. Ha, Li Tianming laughed. It wasn't the first time he had a burning stomach. With a few quick bites, he swallowed the fire lingzi. The herb turned into a numbing, scorching stream of lava as it slid down his throat, and as it entered his stomach, it didn't feel that much different from swallowing magma. It took the fire lingzi years to absorb enough essences to form the orange heavenly patterns. Other than these two monsters, no one else could even imagine eating it raw, which was only possible due to the eternal infernal body's extraordinary fire immunity. Before long, Li Tianming started burning like a fireball too. Of course, this was a great opportunity for him to cultivate. Using the tremendous amount of energy the two had just absorbed, Li Tianming and Ying Huo channeled their beast veins to convert this energy into eternal infernal beast ki, as they sought to enter 5th level beast vein. As they slowly converted this blazing energy to their own, their pain also eased and it got easier and easier. After a while, they had completely absorbed the fire lingzi. As expected, the two of them made a breakthrough to the 5th level of the beast vein stage. Cultivating with you makes me feel like we are spending the night together. That's disgusting, I want to find a pretty girl and cultivate with her instead. The little chick pretended to sigh, even though the breakthrough just gave him a ton of energy. You're in the wilderness right now, the chances of you finding a female ghost is way higher, Li Tianming joked. He had already reached 5th level beast vein, his power almost comparable to 3 years ago. Such incredible improvement speed was only made possible with the blood of the primordial chaos beast. With his current strength, he could probably easily beat Li Zifeng without even using his fire immunity. But this is still not good enough for Lu Qianyang, who is at 9th level beast vein. Li Tianming frowned at the thought of that teenager. After absorbing the fire lingzi, they ventured further into the mountain. Li Tianming removed the glove from his left hand to make use of the third eye on it. He realized the vision from this single eye was even clearer than the ones his actual eyes could offer. The little chick shuddered. Don't use it to look at me, it makes me uneasy. What a coward! Li Tianming would never let a chance for him to laugh at Ying Huo slip past him. Just as the little chick was about to rebut, they heard a loud rumbling sound, like that of a falling tree, in the distance. At the same time, the ground began to tremble, and faint bestial roars echoed from the source of the rumbling sound. Wild beast. Li Tianming recognized it at once. A wild beast's roar was infused with an uniquely distinct primal quality, as a creature that lacked intelligence and followed its base desires. Just as they were about to run away from the wild beast, Li Tianming suddenly froze on the spot, his eyes staring at the beast's direction. A female ghost. The little chick, who was standing on top of his head, was also shocked by what it just saw, its eyes wide open. They were right about the wild beast, but it was busy chasing someone, the female ghost Ying Huo was referring to. Ghost? That's totally a goddess. Li Tianming had seen plenty of beauties back at the Flame Yellow Science Institute, one of them being Mu Qingqing. Ignis Polys had gathered many of Vermilion Bird Nation's most beautiful women, some of them talented, and others with reputable background. Even back in Flame Haven, there were a good number of charming ladies like Lu Qing, whose smile could make many men lose their mind. And yet, despite his prior experiences, time seemed to stop as Li Tianming looked at the figure running towards him. The girl appeared to be shrouded in a glistering white mist, her silky black hair flowing like black ink. Her face had a smooth oval shape, the facial features perfectly balanced on it like a piece of art. This was especially true for her eyes, bright and mesmerizing like the stars under a dreamy night sky. She wore a turquoise long skirt that pleasantly brought out the charm of her thin waist. Her fair skin was as fine as the most exquisite of jade, so soft it looked like it would break from the lightest touch. Such a girl sure looked like she was a goddess who had just descended from the heavens, and had never experienced the taint of the mortal world before. The most unforgettable thing to Li Tianming was still the sparkling of her skin. Unlike normal people, her skins glistened as if they were gems, giving off a soft glow in the darkness. It was exactly this glow that formed the white mist that surrounded her. Li Tianming never knew there were people so beautiful, who could make the whole world bow before their charm. The girl's appearance seemed to brighten up the forest, making Li Tianming forget about all the bloodshed and danger it hid. How could a human body give off such a pleasant glow? The girl's presence made his mind go blank. A sentiment appeared in his heart. It was a feeling he couldn't understand, and yet he knew that the two of them knew each other before, that this encounter was one decided by fate. I must admit, I'm in love. Even the little chick was defeated by her beauty after getting a better look. Cut your crap, we need to save her. Chapter 16, Possessed by a Ghost. Li Tianming sped to her side with all the speed he could muster. He wasn't about to let such a beautiful girl die in front of him. The trees transformed into a blur as the little chick hung on for dear life. Screeching, its claws clung onto Li Tianming tightly, its little body buffeted by the passing air. Ah, Li Tianming. So this is the kind of person you were. Hose before brothers, you horndog. The little chick cursed as the violent jolts shook it. The distance continued to shrink, allowing Li Tianming to view the girl's overwhelming beauty with greater clarity, especially that extraordinary luster that surrounded her. Then he saw the girl smile adorably, her dimples and twinkling eyes lighting up his vision. The wild beast behind her was quite scary, but Li Tianming fortunately made it in time. He reached out, and grabbed hold of the girl's slender waist. A moment later, her body abruptly crumbled away, vanishing like a puff of smoke. What happened? The strange event seemed to justify the little chick's address of female ghost. He sensed a comprehensive increase of his power. First came his body. After enjoying the primordial chaos beast treatment, his eternal infernal body possessed already higher than average strength. And yet, his bodily strength somehow began to surge. His eternal infernal beast key followed suit a moment later. Although his beast key's quantity didn't increase, it had imbibed an odd quality that made it more explosive. When Li Tianming lowered his head, he noticed that his skin had taken on the same luster that had infused the girl just now. He was now giving off that sparkling light now as well. What in the world was going on? Big brother, please dodge. A gentle voice entered his ears. Such a pleasant voice had to belong to that girl. Li Tianming was sure of it. If she hadn't died or crumbled to bits, where was she? As Li Tianming continued to wonder, the voice said, "Big brother, now's not the time for that. Why don't we run first?" Sounds like a good plan. That murderous wild beast had already found a new prey in Li Tianming. It was a tall and savage ape, with a muscular body that sported golden, sharp fur from head to toe. Li Tianming recognized it as a two-star wild beast, the golden ape. Overlords amongst their two-star brethren, they could contend with the 8th level of the beast vein stage upon maturity. Obviously, the one in front of them had already reached adulthood. The star rating for wild beasts and life-bound beasts were similar, but for life-bound beasts it was chiefly determined by their potential, unlike wild beasts where their strength determined it. While a life-bound beast that had reached its limits was going to be strong, a 6-star life-bound beast still in its growth phase wasn't necessarily a match for a grown 2-star wild beast. There was no time to hide. At this critical moment, both Li Tianming and the little chick chose to fight. Using Ghost Step to sidestep the enemy's pounce, Li Tianming clenched his fist, delivering a dragon mammoth heavy strike towards the back of the ape's head. The ground shook. The golden ape had blocked the strike, but the force from it had sent it flying away, such was Li Tianming's strength. That's strong. The man himself was a little confused. He could feel he was stronger than when he beat Li Zifeng by 2 whole levels. However, he had only broken through once since then. It therefore went without saying that that fairy-like girl was the reason. Take this, you nugget. The fierce little chick seized the opportunity to rush straight at the ape's eye, targeting its weak spot. Battle arts had martial and beast arts. Dragon Mammoth Heavy Strike's beast art counterpart was the Dragon Mammoth Heavy Claw, which the little chick was already proficient in. Its tiny claw was in no way an impediment to unleashing mighty power. Running. Under their encirclement, the ape fled as soon as it got up. Primates like these were right at home in Red Twill Mountain Range. If it wanted to run, it wasn't going to be possible to catch up. There wasn't much point in chasing either. And with that, the crisis was averted. Still, Li Tianming was left rather bewildered. After all, if the girl hadn't caused that increase in strength, the little chick and him would have been no match for the golden ape. The woods were finally quiet. Haha, you're glowing all over. Well, at least you're bright now, physically. The little chick rolled over laughing. Li Tianming lowered his head, just in time to catch the luster receding. It regathered in front of him, returning into that girl earlier on within a moment. Li Tianming could now see her clearly. She really was like a fairy, possessing almost inhuman beauty. Hold up, was she attached to him just now? Was this actually a person, or some kind of ghostly possession? Big brother, thank you for saving me just now. The girl seemed to enjoy smiling, giving another adorable and dimpled smile. Air. Li Tianming's mind went blank, his words slurring into an incomprehensible mess. Pretty girl, ignore him. He's just a regular old nitwit. The little chick hopped onto Li Tianming's shoulder, speaking solemnly. Let me introduce myself. The name's Huo, Ying Huo. I'm this nitwit's guardian chicken. How cute. The girl picked it up and placed it onto her palm, her eyes shining as she rubbed its head. Pretty girl, don't do that. I'm neither a pet nor someone easy. Oops, sorry. The girl returned the little chick to Li Tianming, then looked expectantly at him. Big brother, could you give it to me? No problem. Remember to add some mushrooms when you stew it? Satisfaction guaranteed. Li Tianming happily captured the little chick, cursing it internally, let's see if you'll dare pick up girls again. The girl chuckled in amusement. Li Tianming really liked the simple pure smile she had. Once upon a time, there had been a girl like that too. However, after she had joined the Flame Yellow Science Institute, competition had gradually changed her. Big brother, you really are rather funny. I was just joking, I know it's your life-bound beast. I'm Zhang Feeling. What's your name? Ah well, his name is honestly kinda, really, very dumb. He's called Li Tianming, the Tianming that means fate. The little chick cut in. Big brother Tianming. The girl smiled again, clearly amused by the temperament a cute little chick had. Lil sis Ling you're quite pretty. The shameless little chick continued. Thank you, big brother. Ying Hua. Little sister Ling where's your life-bound beast? Considering how shameless the little chick was being, Li Tianming had no choice but to follow up. I don't have one. I never was born with one. Her voice was casual, Like she didn't care. Li Tianming realized she seemed to be like an ordinary person, without any beast key at all. If you didn't have a life-bound beast, you couldn't cultivate. You don't? Then just now. Although I don't have a life-bound beast, I have some special abilities. These are secrets, but there's this strange sense of familiarity I feel, like we've known each other for years, that makes me trust you. She looked at Li Tianming guilelessly. You have that feeling too? Li Tianming's heart trembled. Why? The more he talked with her, the more he breathed in her scent, the stronger the sense of comfortableness and familiarity grew. He felt like they had known each other forever, but he could have sworn they had never met before. I find it strange too. My spiritual attachment reached complete synchronization for the first time in my life just now. The best synergy I've ever had is Qing who was born on the same year, same month, same day as me. Even then, it's a grade 6 attachment. What is spiritual attachment? Li Tianming asked curiously. It's the process that lets me transform my physical body into a spiritual body. It's an innate gift of mine that can comprehensively increase the combat power of whoever I attach myself to. A perfect attachment would likely raise it by a full stage. That is rather miraculous. A girl, born without a life-bound beast, was able to attach her spirit to others to boost their combat strength. The trust she had for him and that sense of familiarity didn't seem so far-fetched with a complete synchronization. Take a look at my fingernails. She raised her hand, revealing 10 slender and snow-white fingers to Li Tianming. He grabbed them on reflex, luxuriating in the soft warmness he felt. Big brother, the girl hurriedly pulled her hand back, her face reddening with acute shyness. Oops, Li Tianming hurriedly said. He had acted before thinking just now. Just look at my fingernail. Her face was still flushed as she raised her hands. Strange symbols resembling heavenly patterns covered 8 of them. They were complicated and abstruse, and simply gazing at them was already giving him a minor headache. Only 2 didn't have such markings. They shone like jewels, with strange power seemingly circulating within them. They say I have 10 special abilities, except they've been sealed since birth. I've unlocked 2 of them, one of which is spiritual attachment. She indicated her right pinky, and this finger grants me the ability of temporal field. It lets me create a region of space where I can control the flow of time. She said, slightly proudly. Although she wasn't a Beastmaster, these 2 special abilities did make her seem to be Vermilion Bird's most unique existence. Furthermore, there were 8 other fingernails left which would unlock at some unknown point. Ling why not marry Li Tianming? It'll be ridiculously overpowered if those 2 abilities of yours support Li Tianming. The little chick suddenly said. That wouldn't be a good idea, right? We just met, the girl replied, flustered. Ignore it. It hasn't had a proper diet since young, so its brain has certain, deficiencies. Putting it bluntly, it's mildly retarded. Unable to endure it any further, Li Tianming tossed the chick back into the life-bound space, preventing it from babbling any more nonsense. Li Tianming, you traitor! The little chick vanished before completing its curse, and peace returned once more. Li Tianming was just about to take advantage of the situation and ask about her identity to create further opportunities to meet, when someone suddenly shot out from the right. Pushing Li Tianming away, the newcomer stood between the 2, cutting his words short. Who are you, scoundrel? How dare you disrespect Ling Chapter 17, The Little Fairy from Ignis Follies. The voice of the girl that suddenly appeared was clear and fierce. Li Tianming hazarded a guess that she was the Qing Zhang Feeling had mentioned before. She was dressed in a simple yet elegant blue dress that showed off her slender figure. She had smooth skin, beautiful thin brows that rested on top of a pair of lively eyes. Whilst she wasn't that old, her body had developed in all the right places, with her blue dress accentuating lithe curves that weren't any worse than that beautiful Lu Cheng. To finish it off, she possessed an unruly aura. When these two girls were side by side, one was like a goddess from a dream, unstained by the filth of the mortal world. The other was like a mortal princess, 7 parts willful, 2 parts cute and 1 part charming. While Zhang Feeling with her luminescent skin was naturally more otherworldly, this overbearing and slender Qing'er also had extraordinary looks. Li Tianming hadn't expected to meet such extraordinary beauties here in the wilderness. This Qing'er wasn't any less pretty than Mu Qing, and in fact even exceeded her in temperament. Li Tianming had previously assumed that this Qing'er was possibly a maidservant. However, now he knew he was obviously wrong. Her bearing and aura were unordinary, terrifying even. This was a demeanor born from possessing peerless talent. Even in Ignispalis, such a person was likely to possess a high status. Don't scare him, Qing'er. He's not a bad guy, he saved me just now when I was being chased by a wild beast. Is that so? Qing'er finally relaxed her guard, before giving Li Tianming a once-over. All right then, shoo. Don't have any untoward thoughts about Ling'er. Your pretty face belies a startling lack of manners. Li Tianming retorted. Qing'er glared at him. Come again. Shocking beast qi that surpassed the beast vein stage began to pour out of her. It meant she was likely a spirit source Beastmaster. All who could reach it so young would be famous figures in Ignispalis. Qing'er, don't bully Big Brother. Let me tell you a surprise. Big Brother? Excuse me. Qing'er's glare became even fiercer. Li Tianming didn't know whether to laugh or cry. It seemed this girl had taken him to be a scoundrel who specialized in tricking naive little girls. Do you want to hear it? Zhang Feeling pouted. Fine, go ahead. Qing'er said helplessly. Just now, I used spirit attachment on Big Brother. Guess what synchronization grade it reached? Zhang Feeling blinked. Spiritual attachment? I told you to not just attach yourself to any random hobo. Qing'er said, her head aching. I had no choice, a wild beast was chasing me. Guess. Qing'er looked disdainfully at Li Tianming. A hobo from the countryside. I give it a grade 2 maximum. Wrong. You definitely won't believe this, but it was a complete synchronization. Watch. Zhang Feeling used spiritual attachment on Li Tianming again, and he felt that violent power course through his body again. Damn. Qing'er was completely flummoxed to see it, and subconsciously slipped out a word that would have earned her some scandalous glances in public. See that? Complete synchronization. I also feel like I've known Big Brother Li Tianming for ages. Zhang Feeling smiled as she reformed, eyes sparkling as she looked at Li Tianming. Qing'er ground her teeth, hurriedly dragging Zhang Feeling over to her when she saw how close they were. Ling'er, you're being too naive. Don't always listen to other people's sweet talk. He must have deceived you when I wasn't around. Nope, he was very polite. Exactly, you've fallen for his trick. Qing'er gritted her teeth and continued, let me tell you, men are bad eggs. Of course he's nice to you, you're pretty. But so what if there's complete synchronization? A hobo from the countryside will never make anything of himself. Sister, how many men have you hurt by saying that? Li Tianming was getting more annoyed with her as time went by. Were there really people like this who belittled others so much? No matter what, he really had helped Zhang Feeling. Looking to die. Qing'er's head snapped towards Li Tianming as she glared at him coldly, that highborn aura on full blast again. Qing'er. Zhang Feeling got angry before Li Tianming did. He hadn't actually expected this little fairy to be able to get angry. Though, he did notice she was quite cute when she got angry. Fine, let's ignore him then. We need to return to Ignispalis already, we've been out for too long already. Qing'er didn't want to make her unhappy, so she quickly reined in her temper. All right. Zhang Feeling looked disappointed. All right, you scoundrel, we're leaving. I'll thank you for helping Ling but erase any other thoughts you have. Both of you belong to two different worlds, so don't daydream. Just focus on your farming, Qing spoke warningly. You don't happen to have some issue up here, do you? Li Tianming tapped his head. You scoundrel, she gnashed her teeth in fury. How many would dare speak to her in this way in Ignis Follies? Ling where do you stay in Ignis Follies? I'll come look for you in the future. Don't tell him. Qing covered her mouth before saying to Li Tianming, what Ignis Follies? With your background, really, just focus on farming and contributing to Vermilion Bird's food supplies. Let's go. After saying that, she felt her spirits lift as she ran away with Zhang feeling. They quickly vanished into the shrubbery, leaving Li Tianming no chance to catch up even if he wanted to. However, he still gave a chuckle. Those two girls were rather interesting. Although one hadn't been very polite to him, it was because she had her guard up against him and was afraid Zhang feeling would be tricked by him. After all, that fairy-like girl was so pure that no one would want to see her sullied. I'm sure there'll be more chances for us to meet. Li Tianming didn't feel worried he wouldn't be able to find them. Qing was definitely some famous figure in Ignis Follies with her strength, and Ignis Follies just so happened to be his next destination. Li Tianming summoned the little chick back out. Li Tianming. How could you hide me away like that? What unspeakable things did you do, you savage? Unbelievable, as your life-bound beast, this is an eternal stain on the awesome Ying Huo's honor. The little chick immediately started jabbering when he was released. Shush. Am I that sort of person to you? Duh. I have seen you stick your hand in your pants. God damn it. I'm going to strangle you. Li Tianming attempted to seize it to vent the disappointment after the girls left. I curse your future babies to not have butts. I curse you to fly solo forever. I curse your pecker to fall off. Man and bird jumped about as they quarreled, but they didn't slow down their search for clear spirit grass. Li Tianming only had one stalk, and he needed much, much more. 3 days passed and Li Tianming had delved into the depths of Red Twill Mountain. Trees stood tall and the ground was littered with shrubbery and fallen leaves. Under such circumstances, it was impossible to guess where a venomous pest or wild beast may be lurking. He hadn't found any clear spirit grass, but he had quite the assortment of other spirit herbs. They were all important resources in this wild beast territory. Anywhere where spirit herbs grew would always have fierce beasts and venomous pests living there. As for any spirit herbs that grew using sunlight and possessed a fire-type nature, they would directly consume it. They were actually cultivating faster than in Flame Haven. In the past, he had taken years to reach 5th level Beast Vein, but it was accomplished in 20 days this time round. The strong points of primordial chaos beasts lay not in their might when they were born, but in their talent and fortune. So far, they had only excavated less than 1/10,000th of the eternal infernal phoenix's potential. Clear spirit grass. One evening, they crested a ridge to reach a flat area. Many sorts of vegetation and weeds were here, but clear spirit grass was a spirit herb and was easily identifiable even when mixed together with weeds. There were over 10 stalks of it here, which was more valuable to Li Tianming than a whole pouch of spirit gems. It was enough for him to comfortably bring his mother to Flame Yellow Science Institute. The heavens really didn't turn their back on people who tried. The pair quickly sped over. Mother will definitely be happy if I brought so much back. Danger! When they approached it, a streak of blue suddenly assaulted them. That blue might very well be poisonous, and as a general rule of thumb, a poisoned body was more troublesome than flesh wounds from blades. They quickly backed up and avoided the attack. When they came to a stop, they realized a black scorpion was next to the patch of clear spirit grass. It was as large as an 8-person table, its 2 pincers reminiscent of 2 hammers. Most fear-inducing was the blue tail held aloft, covered in a thick blue exoskeleton with a sharp stinger that was covered in an obviously poisonous blue liquid. That blue streak was likely that blue tail. Wild beast. Li Tianming frowned. He felt something was off about this scorpion, and on closer inspection, he realized the eyes lacked the telltale savagery of wild beasts, but was instead filled by a human-like coldness. No, life-bound beast. It's the blue-tailed scorpion, a 5-star life-bound beast. Li Tianming remembered reading about this life-bound beast's data before. The subject of life-bound beast species and type was endless, but it was still a compulsory course for any Beastmaster. Li Tianming had started from young, but it was still difficult to recognize every single life-bound beast, because just too many kinds had appeared in history. For species, life-bound beasts could generally be divided into the categories of avian, terrestrial, bug and fish. However, it didn't end there. There were also reptiles, tortoises, crocodiles, amphibians, frogs, salamanders, shellfish, snails, squids, annelids, earthworms, leeches, cnidarians, jellyfish, sea anemones, and so on. While these species looked weak, they weren't necessarily so. Some jellyfish and tortoise life-bound beasts could be 8 or 9 star. In fact, one of the mightiest powerhouses in the flame-yellow continent had a 9-star life-bound beast that was technically an earthworm, but was called the earth hell hornworm. Life-bound beasts also had types. They ran the gamut from metal, wood, water, fire, earth, lightning, wind, light, dark, poison to others like star, shadow, explosion, moonlight, illusion, sound, purification, life, transformation, berserker, control, steel-clad and brood mother. Types were the most basic characteristic of life-bound beasts. Metal, wood, water, fire, earth, lightning, and wind were known as elemental types. Elemental types took up over 90% of all life-bound beasts, but the more unorthodox ones could be even more frightening, like the rare brood mother type, of which ant and bee queens would belong to. They could spawn large numbers of offspring to act as an army. Largely speaking, any life-bound beast could be fixed into the box of species and type, like Li Suejiao's flaming hawk was a fire-type avian beast. Lu Qinyang's lightning bolt cheetah would be a lightning-type terrestrial beast. And this blue-tailed scorpion was a poison-type arachnid beast. Poison types could be considered one of the more unorthodox types. It may have lacked the raw power of the elements, but it was definitely scarier when the poison entered your body. However, if there was a life-bound beast, there was always a Beastmaster. As expected, the next moment, a thin young man in long, green robes ran over and landed in front of Li Tianming. Right on the clear spirit grass. Li Tianming frowned. Chapter 18, A Fight for the Clear Spirit Grass. Li Tianming took a closer look at the youth in green robes who was obviously not from Flame Haven. He didn't expect to see a stranger in the deepest parts of Red Twill Mountain. Why is it so easy to run into geniuses these days? Li Tianming thought. One glance was enough to tell that the youth was at Li Zifeng's level. There was no reason for him to fall out with the youth, but he needed the clear spirit grass which was below the youth's feet. Li Tianming winced as the youth stepped forward, crushing 2 strands of the grass under his feet, causing the spiritual energy to dissipate. You aren't from the Lightning Manor, so what gave you the courage to step foot in this part of the mountain? Aren't you afraid to die? The youth in green glared at Li Tianming, arrogance radiating off his very being. Lightning Manor? Of course I'm not from the Lightning Manor. Li Tianming was stunned by the question. What did the Lightning Manor have to do with this? What do you mean? Are you from the Lightning Manor, and telling me that only people from the manor are allowed entry to Red Twill? Disciples of the Lightning Manor generally had lightning-type life-bound beasts, while this boy's beast was poison-type, so Li Tianming thought the odds of him being from the Lightning Manor weren't high. Well, since I asked that question, it should be obvious that I'm from Lightning Manor. I'll let you know that the lightning manor has things to do in Red Twill, and that if you don't scram from the mountain right now, you'll never make it out alive again. The youth's arrogance lent credit to his claim from Lightning Manor. Unbridled megalomania seemed to be a common trait among the geniuses of Lightning Manor, Li Tianming included. Sure, I'll leave right now. I was planning to anyway, but I just hope to gather some clear spirit grass here to cure my mother's illness. I'd appreciate it if you just give me a minute or so. Clear spirit grass. The youth in green lowered his head, noticing the spirit herb with red heavenly patterns under his feet. Yes, a few strands and I'll be on my way, Li Tianming replied. Oh. The youth nodded. Just as Li Tianming thought the youth was about to make way for him, the youth ground his foot against the ground, killing all the clear spirit grass, while smiling at Li Tianming. If I tell you to scram, I expect you to ask how far. How dare some bumpkin like you bargain with me? Li Tianming was pretty good-tempered in general, and never one to pick a fight. But in this case all the youth needed to do was to back off a few steps. To make it worse, he destroyed the clear spirit grass when he himself clearly didn't need it. Li Tianming couldn't tolerate this kind of outrageous insult, especially not when the grass was needed to save Wei Jing's life. Li Tianming seethed with fury, what with the clear spirit grass all dead, and the intolerable smugness on the teenager's face. I don't care who you are, I'll kill you. Li Tianming cursed, his crimson blood dagger already in his right hand. He clenched his left fist so hard, it almost tore the cloth used to cover it. You bastard! The little chick was way more irascible than Li Tianming, shooting out from the top of Li Tianming's head like a bullet. The youth could never imagine a bumpkin had the courage to pick a fight with him. Are they idiots? End them. He clearly didn't see a need to confront the pair himself, commanding his life-bound beast to attack Li Tianming instead. You can only blame your luck on entering the mountain at this wrong time. We can't risk the odd chance that you become the first to find the mana, the youth muttered in a soft voice that Li Tianming couldn't catch. Despite its size, the blue-tailed scorpion was incredibly agile. Its razor-sharp claws and poisonous tails were as deadly as top-quality bestial weapons. The scorpion made use of these to hunt down prey in the fastest time possible, poisoning them in the process. Bang! The moment Li Tianming's black arm clashed against the blue-tail scorpion's claws, he knew that his opponents were at 7th level beast vein stage. Considering that the life-bound beast was poison type, Li Zifeng would probably be no match to him, but that was not the case for Li Tianming. On top of that, the youth had yet to make a move, which presented a great chance for Li Tianming to take them down one by one. Now, since the chick and him could communicate telepathically, they could coordinate perfectly during battle. It was the bloody soul hunt. Li Tianming and Ying Huo executed the supreme beast-ranked battle art at the same time, Li Tianming using its battle arts and the little chick using the bestial arts. The bloody soul hunt placed great emphasis on the movements of its users, and within the bat of an eye, Li Tianming had dashed in front of the blue-tailed scorpion. With that being said, the move synergized even better with the little chick. Given its small size and its ability to fly, the little chick was even harder to catch when using the bloody soul hunt to look for its opponent's weakness. In the case of the blue-tailed scorpion, the Achilles heel was its eyes. The scorpion, on the other hand, didn't even consider the little chick to be a threat, its focus only on Li Tianming. It was almost as fast as Li Tianming, its pincers aiming directly for where Li Tianming's arm was, ready to snap his arm into half. Say goodbye to your arm. The youth smiled when he saw Li Tianming's arm caught by the blue-tailed scorpion. Clank. The sound was loud and crisp. Hearing that, the youth relaxed. He was almost certain that it was the sound of Li Tianming's arm snapping, but upon taking a closer look he was completely stunned. How could it be? In contrast to Li Tianming's unscathed arm, the blue-tailed scorpion's pincer was riddled with cracks. It was an unimaginable sight. What a fool, you have no idea how tough his hand is. The little chick laughed. Li Tianming, unharmed by the scorpion's attacks, made use of that opening to stab the blue-tailed scorpion's eye with his crimson blood dagger, causing green blood to spurt all over the place. At the same time, the little chick charged at the scorpion's other eye, its sharp beak tearing it out. Congratulations! Your prize today is one blind life-bound beast. The little chick taunted the youth in green as it rose back into the air. The severely injured blue-tailed scorpion could do nothing but roll on the ground from the sheer pain of losing both eyes. Even with the best medicine, it might never see again given that amount of damage. Next comes your leg. Li Tianming was done with the blue-tailed scorpion, and had already locked onto his next target. The youth had crushed all of the clear spirit grass, and Li Tianming was going to make sure he paid for that. Go to hell! The youth just recovered from the shock of his life-bound beast's defeat, and in his fury he drew several needles. Those silver needles were evidently top-quality bestial weapons, made with precious spirit ores. Li Tianming had a hunch that they were heart-piercing needles, poisonous weapons with a distinctive blue tip. Zoom! The youth threw the needle straight at Li Tianming and the little chick. Sadly for him, his weapon was countered by the pair using Bloody Soul Hunt. Top-tier movement arts could easily dodge this kind of attacks, and once the heart-piercing needle missed, the youth would be directly exposed to Li Tianming's attacks. Within moments, Li Tianming and his little chick had the youth surrounded. Li Tianming's black arm balled up, and with the crimson blood dagger in his right hand, he struck out mercilessly. Using a sudden burst of his eternal infernal beast ki, he landed a direct punch on the youth's abdomen area, sending the poor boy flying back. The youth struggled to climb up from the ground, blood dribbling out of his mouth. So you weren't as useless as you look, but I'll let you know that I'll still kill you. I'm gonna flay the flesh off your body piece by piece and have you begging me to give you a quick death. His eyes were blazing murderously. For someone who can't even stand up now, you sure like to talk big. Li Tianming stared at the youth coldly. No matter how much he beat up the youth, the clear spirit grass wasn't coming back. You deserve another slap. The youth was sent flying backwards again, leaving a trail of snot and blood in his wake. For someone who was deriding Li Tianming as a bumpkin just moments ago, the youth sure was in a bad state. Which damned leg of yours stepped on the clear spirit grass again? Li Tianming asked, jabbing his crimson blood dagger into the youth's thigh. But it was at that moment, something unexpected happened. Ah! Dad, Mom, save me! The youth let out a piercing shriek that echoed through the forest. Damn it! Li Tianming was caught by surprise. Why would the youth take his parents with him on a trip to Red Twill? If he was from the Lightning Manor, then his parents must be too. If they caught Li Tianming, he would be in deep shit. It was time for a tactical retreat. The landscape of Red Twill Mountain were complicated, and if Li Tianming got a head start, there was still a good chance of him making it out. Don't you dare run. Before night falls, you'll be hunted down. And when you meet the King of Hell, tell him Zhang Zixuan sent you there. As Li Tianming scrambled for the bushes, the youth roared behind him. Zhang Zixuan? What a crappy, overused name. Li Tianming muttered as he disappeared into the foliage. Chapter 19, The Princess Arrives. Just as Li Tianming made it a few hundred meters away into the jungle, thinking that he had escaped from danger, he ran into someone unexpected. It was Zhang Feeling and Qing. He could only imagine that it was fate that brought them together again. Qing was definitely a talented girl born from a reputable family, and with her pretty looks, she would no doubt be the center of attention everywhere she went. Yet, when placed alongside Zhang Feeling, Li Tianming couldn't help but direct most of his attention on Zhang Feeling. No other word but perfection could describe her fairy-like presence. Weren't they about to return to Ignis Follies? Why are they still here? Li Tianming thought curiously. But more importantly, he was still being hunted by members of the Lightning Manor. They would be in danger too. No time to explain, We need to run. Li Tianming charged straight at them, ready to grab one with each hand and bring the both of them with him. No matter how talented Qing'er may be, there's no way she could win against two adults. Why are you running? Stop there. Qing'er folded her arms to dodge Li Tianming while rolling her eyes at him. Meanwhile the two girls' appearance had delayed Li Tianming's escape, and within moments, a middle-aged couple had caught up with him. The couple was clearly boiling with anger. Just a minute they took their eyes off their precious son and he was already beaten up by an outsider? Just as they were about to bring Li Tianming to justice, a girl in green blocked their way. Princess Cheng. Greetings, Princess Cheng, I am Zhang Chong from the Lightning Manor and this is my wife. It is an honor for you to grace us with your presence here. The middle-aged man hurriedly lowered his head to show as much deference as possible. Princess? No way, only one type of person in Vermilion Bird would be addressed as princess. They were the daughters of the Vermilion Bird King. Li Tianming could tell that Qing'er was from a reputable family, but the Vermilion Bird clan, rulers of the land? Even with his status as a Flame Yellow Science Institute disciple 3 years ago, he would never dream of talking to a princess. Even Lin Xiaoting, the #1 genius in Heaven's Sanctum right now, had to bow in front of her like what Zhang Chong just did. After all, her father was the ruler of this land. A brief recollection of what he said 2 days ago left Li Tianming in a cold sweat. Did he really ask a princess what's wrong with her head? With that information, Li Tianming roughly gauged Princess Jing's strength to be close to Lin Xiaoting's level. The Vermilion Bird clan had after all controlled Vermilion Bird for millennia, and their clan's history and wealth definitely surpassed that of Lightning Manors. Dispense with the formalities. Qing'er waved her hands at the couple, but her eyes were trained on Li Tianming. From that smug look, he could almost hear her saying, now that you know who I am, do you still want to jeer at me? For what noble purpose is the princess doing in Red Twill Mountain Range? There's many wild beasts around here, and if the princess is not well protected, Zhang Chong's head was still lowered. And who told you I am not protected? Qing'er didn't let him finish his sentence. Now that she was no longer hiding her identity as a princess, her voice had a natural sense of nobility to it. This scared Zhang Chong from speaking any further. Forgive him, princess, but Zhang Chong was simply too concerned about your highness' safety that he panicked. Of course, with the princess's identity, how was it possible to not have experts protecting your highness? Zhang Chong's wife hastily tried to cover up her husband's blunder. As for Zhang Zixuan, he had just caught up with the group. But when he saw that even his parents had their heads lowered, he didn't dare to utter a word. The atmosphere was tense, and only Zhang Feeling was winking at Li Tianming with a smile on her face. Seeing her smile, Li Tianming knew that his safety was in good hands, just that there was no escape from being laughed at by Qing'er later. You said you are Zhang Chong from the Lightning Manor. Qing'er had her hands behind her back, her actions befitting her noble family background. Yes, your highness. The man could only nod his head. And what is the Lightning Manor doing here? I saw a few others from your manor around here 2 days ago. Zhang Chong hesitated for a brief moment. Tired of living? Qing'er asked. I plead for your forgiveness, princess. I'll talk. Zhang Chong was sweating all over, a totally different figure as compared to when he just appeared. Unfortunately, he ran into someone way more powerful than him. My patience is wearing thin, Qing'er said. Li Tianming was equally curious about their business in Red Twill. Here's the full story, your highness. The Lightning Manor has found mana at the Red Twill Mountain Range, and we selected 7 juniors to compete for it. They will each have seniors accompanying them, but we are not allowed to affect the competition in any way, and are only here to ensure their safety. Zhang Chong explained the entire event. What tier is this mana? The word mana clearly sparked Qing'er's interest. Even if she didn't need it, the lowest royal mana were still pricey treasures. Your highness, it is but substandard mana that can't even be rated royal. It is only capable of evolving a life-bound beast to 6 stars. Substandard? You are aware of the consequences of lying, correct? Qing'er looked slightly disappointed. Clearly the mana wasn't good enough to arouse her interest. I would never dare to. My son didn't have much hope of getting it anyway, so there's no reason for me to deceive your highness. Zhang Chong gave a bitter smile. That being said, the lowest tier mana could already be considered a treasure in Flame Haven. Perhaps only the real elites from Heaven's Division or the Vermilion Bird clan would find no use for it. I doubt you have the gall to do so anyway. You may disappear from my sight now. Qing'er waved her hands again, her eyes filled with impatience. We thank you, Princess, my family and I will take our leave now. Zhang Chong was clearly relieved that this was over. As he signaled his wife and Zhang Zixuan to take their leave, the couple approached Li Tianming, ready to bring him with them. Wait. Qing'er glanced at Li Tianming, and said unhappily, leave the pig here. Li Tianming stared in disbelief. Did she just call him a pig? But princess, he's just a local bumpkin who assaulted my son's life-bound beast. We just wish to teach him a lesson, Zhang Chong said. Your Highness, may I ask for permission to take revenge for my life-bound beast? Zhang Zixuan finally mustered up his courage to speak in front of the princess. No, you may not. I want this pig here. Now begone. Qing'er said again, leaving no room for bargaining. At one side, Li Tianming couldn't help but sigh. If it wasn't for the 2 girls stopping him here, he would be long gone. Instead he was stuck here listening to the princess calling him a pig. But princess! Out of my sight! Now! Don't make me repeat myself! Qing'er was not going to give them any chance. Zhang Zixuan's face bloated up in anger, but he couldn't utter a single word as his father forcefully dragged him away. Even when leaving, he continued to tremble as if he was having constipation. He even turned back multiple times to stare at Li Tianming with a burning hatred. Only when they were completely gone did Li Tianming turn to face Princess Cheng. What are you staring at? Not happy with me calling you a pig? Qing'er stared back at him, her puffy cheeks making her cuter than usual. Of course I'm happy. How dare I be unhappy with the princess? Li Tianming replied. Qing'er, don't treat big brother like this. He did save me a few days back. Zhang Feeling ran back to Li Tianming's side the moment the Zhang family left. Big brother, are you injured? Not at all, thank you for your concern, Ling'er. Gentle girls like you are hard to come by these days. Li Tianming smiled. Are you hinting that I'm not gentle? Qing'er quirked an eyebrow. Hey, I didn't say that. Whatever. I give you leave to return to your farming, while we return to Ignis Follies. See you, or rather, hope to never see you again. Qing'er dragged Zhang Feeling back to her side, as if she wished for Li Tianming to stay as far away from her Ling'er as possible. Qing'er, a moment. I have something important to say to Big Brother. Zhang Feeling said. Something important? Li Tianming was taken aback. Chapter 20, Next, Mana. Big Brother, our appearance here isn't a coincidence actually. Since we parted 2 days ago, Qing'er said she wanted to follow you for a while more, and study why I could get a perfect synchronization with you. Therefore, we've been following you for a few days already. I hope you won't blame Ling'er for this. Zhang Feeling explained sincerely. Of course not. Li Tianming replied. He lowered his head to take a better look at the girl with the glowing skin. Her skin was so pure, as if she walked straight out from a fairy tale. As her watery eyes stared at him, Li Tianming could almost feel his heart being cleansed. Qing'er still couldn't figure out the reason in the end, so she gave up. I just told her that there must be some kind of bond decided by fate between us. Next time when Big Brother comes to Ignis Follies, remember to visit Ling'er. If I unlock any new abilities, I'd want to try them out with you. Zhang Feeling said, her eyes sparkling with anticipation. Definitely. Of course I will visit you. Li Tianming replied. You are not worthy enough to. Probably won't even be able to make it past the city guards, so just focus on farming at home. Qing rolled her eyes long and hard. She sure was determined about asking Li Tianming to farm and contribute to her nation's food supplies. Qing give big brother a jade pendant, so it's easier for him to come and find me next time. Right before they left, Zhang Feeling had an idea. I don't want to. Qing pouted. Qing fine. Ling you've changed, you weren't like this before you met this pig. Qing was clearly unwilling, but she still produced a jade pendant from her pocket and threw it at Li Tianming. You stupid pig, better not let me catch you using my pendant for wrongdoings, or I will see to it that your chicken gets stewed alive. The little chick was truly unfortunate. This wasn't the first time someone wanted to make him their dinner. Big brother, if you get into situations like the one just now, just bring out the pendant and mention that you are under Princess Cheng. This way, no one would dare to kill you, Zhang Feeling said gently. Li Tianming kept the pendant in his pocket gratefully. The one thing he was really lacking right now was backing, and this pendant was exactly what he needed. He couldn't hope for a better gift. Thank you, Ling. He thanked the girl solemnly. Big brother, who else should you thank? Zhang Feeling blinked her eyes mischievously. Li Tianming reacted immediately. Princess Qing, much thanks for your jade pendant. You are welcome. I warn you again, do not use this to scam others, and especially not to ruin my reputation. Zhang Qingluan's cheeks were still puffed up from her little tantrum. No worries, I solemnly swear upon my farmer honor that I will take this pendant off while farming so as to not stain it. Li Tianming said solemnly. Princess Qing couldn't help but crack up from the joke. Finding it embarrassing to laugh out loud, she immediately went back to maintaining a straight face. Big brother, come here. Zhang Feeling smiled too when listening to their conversation, and beckoned Li Tianming once they were done. Yeah? Li Tianming asked. Got a secret for you, Zhang Feeling replied. I'm listening. Li Tianming lowered his head and brought his ears closer. He could smell her faint scent, a smell that he found almost intoxicating. From the corner of his eyes, the sight of the lass's cheeks made his heart pound faster than ever. Big brother, do you want the mana? It's over there. Zhang Feeling whispered in his ears, while pointing. Li Tianming was baffled. How did she know he wanted to find the mana? And how in the world did she know where the mana was? This must be the important thing she was referring to previously. For a seemingly normal girl with no beast key, Zhang Feeling surprised him yet again. Just how many mysterious abilities does this girl have? Ling let's go. Qing rushed her. This time, they really needed to leave. Big brother, I'll see you again in Ignis Follies. Before Li Tianming could recover from his shock, the pair were already disappearing. Even after the two left, Li Tianming was still dazed, complete with a bit of disappointment from not being able to see Ling in a while. It wasn't just because of her looks, but more of the sense of belonging he could feel when he was with her. Li Tianming thought about the time they had together. She looked so pure and innocent, yet she was thoughtful and was able to figure out what he was thinking about. Not only did she get him a jade pendant from Princess Qing, a lifesaver for him, she also noticed his minute change in expression when he heard about the mana, which led her to point out the direction of the mana for him. Li Tianming couldn't help but wonder just what other secrets this girl might hold. The fateful encounter with Zhang Feeling had already left a permanent mark in his heart. Hyperactive hormones, eh? The little chick didn't miss this opportunity to laugh at Li Tianming. I'll give you a choice. Grilled or stewed? Li Tianming kept the pendant, his eyes still staring in the direction where Zhang Feeling left. Ha! I can beat you single-wingedly. The little chick jeered back smugly. And now? Li Tianming brought up his left arm, the dark arm in full view. Brother. The little chick's attitude took a 180-degree turn. Do you need a nice massage? Perhaps I can get you a drink. Much better now, Li Tianming teased. Dash. Mana. Li Tianming tried to recall the stories he heard about this treasure. It was said that mana was divine blessings given physical form. It came in all sorts of shapes, some stones, some gems, and some even appeared as liquids. Whenever a life-bound beast or a wild beast obtained a mana matching their type, it could trigger an evolution that enhanced the beast, boosting both the beast and its Beastmaster's limits. Out of the 4 different tiers of mana, even the most common imperial ones were said to evolve a life-bound beast to 7 stars. 7 stars. That was sufficient to forge the scariest Beastmasters. In Vermilion Bird, 7-star life-bound beasts were known as royal beasts, crowned as the king of life-bound beasts. Profound and terrestrial mana had even more absurd effects. For example, terrestrial mana was capable of evolving life-bound beasts to legendary saint beasts. Saint beasts stood at the pinnacle of the entire flame yellow continent, and the saint beast war soul that Li Tianming once had was related to them. As for celestial mana, they appeared only in legends and myths. Yinghuo, you mentioned that mana would be of great benefit to you. Li Tianming asked on a more serious note. That's right. When I heard about it, I managed to fish out quite a lot of information from my memory. Although my abilities as a primordial chaos beast were restricted when I became a life-bound beast, the evolution caused by mana can help me get rid of these restrictions. My primal instinct tells me that if I keep evolving, I may eventually go back to my original form as the eternal infernal phoenix. Then what are we waiting for? We know you need the mana, and we know where it is, so let's not dilly-dally any further. Li Tianming told the little chick. Are you telling me you want to rob Lightning Manor's mana? They have 7 contestants, each of them guarded by parents or seniors who could easily squash you, the little chick exclaimed. The pendant will come in handy against their parents. From the way Zhang Chong reacted to the princess, they're probably middle-class members of the Lightning Manor and do not have that much power in Ignis Follies, Li Tianming explained. The jade pendant meant that he had Princess Jing protecting him. Therefore all I need to deal with are the younger generations. Li Tianming's eyes shrunk. While Lin Xiaoting may be the main culprit for Midas's death, plenty of disciples from Lightning Manor were at one side watching and cheering him on. Even if the ones in Red Twill Mountain were not present on that night, Li Tianming just couldn't see them being friends, and probably would not resist his urge to punch them on sight. After all, most of them, like Zhang Zixuan just now, were rotten to the core. Hey, I just realized something. The little chick suddenly said. What? Lu Qianyang mentioned that he would be staying in Flame Haven for a month, right? The only reason for him to stay that long is because he is contesting for the mana as well. As someone in 9th level Beast Vein, he probably has the highest chance of getting the mana. The little chick spoke with a hint of disgust, as it remembered how that teenager robbed Li Tianming of his flame yellow order. You are right, he must be here. That means his sister Lu Qing and my father would be here too. Now this is getting interesting. The challenge ahead had gotten Li Tianming burning with anticipation. What kind of a father is he? Giving the flame yellow order to Lu Qianyang, then bringing him here to win the mana. Are you sure you are his real son, not Lu Qianyang? The little chick spat. Indeed, how ironic it was that his father ousted him from the family and gave everything to an outsider. He used to come to Red Twill Mountain quite often, so you probably can't find someone more familiar with the terrain here. This Lu Qing, you reckon she married Li Yanfan for her brother's flame yellow order and mana? Quite possible. Touching. Li Tianming stood up, looking at the direction Zhang feeling left once again. Then that's even more reason for me to snatch this mana from you and ruin your plans, Li Yanfan. And Li Tianming, just you wait, because I will take back what is rightfully mine. With that, Li Tianming and Ying Huo delayed no further, as the two of them marched on towards an inevitable fight. Chapter 21, The Mysterious Well in the Lake. Li Tianming realized the direction Zhang Feeling pointed for him didn't simply lead him to the mana. As the concentration of spiritual energy in the air increased, not only did the number of beasts and nasty critters increased, but also the number of spirit herbs. Since the atmospheric temperature in the Red Twill mountain range was quite high all year round, the plants here were able to absorb a lot of spiritual energy from direct sunlight. As a result, most spirit herbs formed here were of the fire type. In other words, this was paradise for the eternal infernal phoenix. It had been 10 days since Li Tianming started walking in this direction. While he hadn't found the mana, he did acquire quite a handful of spirit herbs with orange heavenly patterns. Other than 3 fire lingjis, he also found orange patterned spirit herbs such as the flaming grapefruit and magma flow leaves. As their journey towards the mana continued, the two also digested a considerable number of spirit herbs. The rewards that this place offered was proportionate to the amount of risks lurking in its shadows. Breakthrough. 6th level Beast Vein. In terms of cultivation level, he had now surpassed Li Suejiao, and was reaching Li Zifeng's level. This cultivation pace is indeed unfathomable. Thinking back, I took a few years to reach 6th level when I started from scratch, Li Tianming exclaimed. Of course, these changes were only possible due to his bond with the eternal infernal phoenix, which highlighted how fundamentally different the eternal infernal phoenix was from the four-winged goldrock. The second egg is still just rolling around in my life-bound space. This little fella is quite lazy, refusing to just hatch. Given how strong Ying Huo was, Li Tianming couldn't wait for his second primordial chaos beast. On the other hand, they managed to find quite a bit of clear spirit grass in the past few days. It wasn't really a rare spirit herb, and was more common in the deeper parts of Red Twill mountain range. In fact, he had already collected more than 30 strands, each of them carefully kept and packed. This trip is taking quite a while. Since I have enough clear spirit grass already, all I need now is the mana and then I can go back home. Since Linger pointed me in this direction, it must eventually lead me to where the treasure is. 2 days after reaching 6th level Beast Vein, Li Tianming found a lake located high up the mountain, boasting the highest concentration of spiritual energy in the mountain. Just by looking at the lake, he could see steam coming out of it. A searing heat engulfed his finger as he dipped it inside. A person without cultivation would have been scalded from simply stepping into the water. Since this lake lied exactly in the direction Zhang Feeling was pointing at, and was also the most special place they encountered so far, Li Tianming decided to dive into it. Watch out, I can feel something foul is resting in the lake. Even if the mana is inside here, there's probably some kind of trial that we have to clear first, Li Tianming warned the little chick. Coward. Be like me. Heroic, valiant, and resolute. Ying Huo wasn't going to miss its chance to diss Li Tianming. But just moments later, after the pair dived into the boiling lake, the little chick hid itself frantically in Li Tianming's clothes, its little head poking out nervously. The water was quite muddy, making it difficult to see the bottom of the lake, but Li Tianming was pleasantly surprised to find that his third eye on the dark arm could see clearly even under such circumstances. Its vision was hardly affected by the clarity of the water, giving Li Tianming a good view of his surroundings. If he was to remove the bandage off his arm right now, one would observe that Li Tianming's left arm was in fact quite stylish, its eye shining through the darkness of the muddy lake water. This gave Li Tianming's normally cultured look a sense of demonic charm. With the crimson blood dagger in his right hand, Li Tianming seemed like a soul reaper roaming the dark lake. He soon reached the bottom of the lake, where the temperature was even higher. Even the rocks were red hot, suggesting that there were magma veins flowing below the lake bed, explaining the high concentration of fire-type spiritual energy in the region. The vision is incredible. Li Tianming reckoned that even if someone managed to dive to his position, they probably couldn't see a thing. The little chick was in fact unable to see anything around them, and Li Tianming himself was entirely relying on the black arm to know where they were going. After searching roughly a third of the lake. What's this? Li Tianming swept away a few pebbles on the lake bed, revealing a well in the depth of the lake. The well seemed to be made out of some kind of bronze, the marks on its surfaces hinting at the rich history it may have. The opening of the well was sealed off by a mossy green slate. It seemed to be firmly locked in place, and they found no ways to pry it open. Furthermore, the well was extremely well hidden, and it was hard to imagine anyone finding it without using something like Li Tianming's third eye. Oh, an ancient sealed well, wonder what kind of treasure lies inside. The little chick imagined after Li Tianming described it to him. Look at that, that looks like a keyhole. Li Tianming pointed at the slate. I can't see for shit, damn it, the little chick mumbled. Could the mana be inside? Then we will have to find the key, it's probably somewhere inside this lake too. In his mind, Li Tianming took down the position of this well. It was a large lake, and there were about 2/3 of it that he had yet to explore. After another 15 minutes of searching, Li Tianming found a faint glimmer coming from the lake's center. He swam towards it and found a strangely shaped rock lying on the lake bed. The rock was glowing faintly, and Li Tianming could feel that there was something sacred about the rock. This must be the key. Li Tianming was thrilled. However, the little chick had other opinions. No, that is the mana. What do you mean? The shape of this rock fits perfectly with the keyhole we saw on the well just now. This is the mana itself. I can already smell its fragrance. What makes you think that I can't tell if this is mana? The little chick was far more excited than he was. Are you sure? Li Tianming inspected the rock again, before realizing that it indeed fit the descriptions of mana that he read in textbooks before. He expected it to be much more well hidden, perhaps inside that well, and not just casually lying in the center of the lake. This must be it, just grab it already. The little chick pressed him on. Even if it is the mana, I'm pretty damn sure it's a key to that well too. Perhaps we can find other stuff inside there, Li Tianming pondered. Simple, just take the mana, then we can try it out, the little chick suggested. As Li Tianming reached for the mana, he had an ominous feeling. For something so precious, the mana was suspiciously easy to obtain. Wait. Li Tianming stopped in his tracks and observed his surroundings. I can sense a wild beast around. Apparently the little chick had the same feeling. As they made one round around the mana, they found 2 rows of blades emerging from the mud behind their prize. There were more than a dozen blades in each row, each of them more than a meter tall and had algae shrouded over them. Even at a distance, they could tell that the blades are sharp and deadly. These blades were not wild beasts themselves, but part of a much bigger wild beast. There must be a giant creature resting beneath the mud, its length probably nothing short of 10 meters. Luckily for Li Tianming, the beast was probably resting, and hadn't noticed the intruders who were already in close proximity. Razor-backed colossal crocodile, a 3-star wild beast. Li Tianming frowned. The rows of blades were telltale signs of its species. Indeed, the challenge to get the mana had just begun. A 3-star wild beast was comparable to a spirit source Beastmaster, and they also wielded threatening innate abilities. Li Tianming was just 6th level beast vein, so there was no way he could defeat the crocodile in a direct confrontation. In fact, it was way scarier than Lu Qianyang, and even the spirit source stage Li Tianming 3 years ago would be no match for it. If we can't win with brawn, then we have to win with our brains. Li Tianming came to a quick conclusion. The little chick wasn't exactly impressed. And how do we do that, genius? I will bait it into leaving the lake, and you make use of this opportunity to steal the mana. Simple as that. Li Tianming explained his plans. They outnumbered the razor-backed colossal crocodile, and since wild beasts were unintelligent creatures, they could easily distract it with a bit of taunting. You, bait. What makes you think the wild beast couldn't catch you? The little chick questioned. What other choice do I have? It's not like you have the balls to go be the bait, you nugget, Li Tianming said, mockery tinting his words. What did you say? The little chick fluffed itself up angrily. Say it again, I dare you. You'd be far better as a bait, but too bad you're just a chicken. I'll be the bait, and when I come back you better be on your knees thanking me for it. The little chick hissed. Truth be told, the little chick was a much better choice than Li Tianming. The razor-backed colossal crocodile was strong, but its massive size meant that its movements would be very much hindered in the forest. On top of that, the little chick was capable of flying as well, which meant that it would be very difficult for the crocodile to even reach the little chick. If Ying Huo simply dashed through the bushes and disappeared from its sight, there was probably nothing the crocodile could do. So what do we do after that? Are we going to try opening the well with that mana? The little chick asked. We need to meet up first. If you can lure the razor-backed colossal crocodile far enough, then we'll have enough time to try that out. You can always go down there alone. Oh, is it because you don't dare to go inside alone without me? The little chick sneered. Only because I'm worried you'd get eaten by the crocodile. Li Tianming rolled his eyes. In his opinion, they should refrain from splitting up. There were still enemies from the lightning manor around. It didn't take them long to get out of the lake and prepare for their plan. Li Tianming had already found a hiding spot somewhere nearby, and it was showtime for the little chick. Be careful. Li Tianming was confident in its abilities, but reminded it again just in case. Watch and learn, I will teach you how to kite like a real master. The little chick was all pumped up and ready. As soon as Li Tianming gave the signal, it dashed into the lake like a bullet, and reached the crocodile in no time. The razor-backed colossal crocodile was deep asleep when the little chick landed on its head. Without hesitation, Ying Huo used its wings to lift up the crocodile's eyelid, and gave its eye a good, hard peck. Your mama moaned so loudly last night, but you're still fast asleep. The little chick squawked. That was more than enough to wake up and enrage the razor-backed colossal crocodile, who let out an earth-shaking roar from the pain in its eyes. Come and chase me, you idiot. Seeing that its plan was effective, the little chick flapped its wings and flew out of the lake. Moments later, the giant black crocodile leaped out of the lake as well. It swept up a massive amount of lake water, forming water tornadoes that went straight for the little chick. Boom! The water tornado missed the little chick and hit the forest in front of it, causing an explosion of water and wood splinters. That was its innate ability, and could probably kill the little chick instantly if it was a direct hit. Fool, you'll never catch me. The little chick's movements were swift as it weaved through the water tornadoes. The razor-backed colossal crocodile couldn't understand what the little chick was saying, but it did get the idea that it was being insulted. With another roar, the crocodile charged after the little chick, going deeper and deeper into the forest. This was the perfect chance for Li Tianming. With the amount of noise the crocodile was making, Li Tianming could infer where its position was. There was enough time for him to extract the mana before the wild beast returned. Without a second thought, Li Tianming dived into the lake. Mana, here I come. Chapter 22, Killing you is as easy as squashing an ant. Ignoring all the waves that the razor-backed colossal crocodile stirred up when it left the lake, Li Tianming dived right back into the water, aiming directly at the mana. He swam as fast as he could and approached the mana within a few minutes. Got it? The mana was small enough for him to keep in his pockets. Once his goal was achieved, Li Tianming didn't waste a single second and swam back to the surface. So much for having to go through challenging trials to get the mana. Li Tianming knew he needed to converge with Ying Huo first. The little chick had played the most important part in this mission, and it just needed to shake the crocodile off its tail now. If it did manage to lure the crocodile deep into the forest, then they would have enough time to try and open up that well. Li Tianming also didn't want to be separated from the little chick for prolonged periods of time. Beastmasters should always refrain from doing so, as it led to the risk of them being picked off one by one. Sadly for Li Tianming, it wasn't the little chick, but danger that found him first. "Who are you?" A girl dressed in blue appeared in front of him. She was a bit younger than him, her eyes were the same shade of blue as the dress she was wearing. She had a delightful look, the only downside being that she seemed to have a spoiled temperament, similar to Li Suejiao. If Li Tianming guessed correctly, this girl must have been attracted by the commotion caused by the razor-backed colossal crocodile, and was a member of the Lightning Manor. "The mana is with him." A deep voice echoed from the distance. Li Tianming looked towards the direction of the voice, and saw two middle-aged men dressed in black. Based on their appearances, Li Tianming suspected the two to be siblings. "Father, uncle, are you sure?" The girl glanced at Li Tianming indifferently. She stood still on the surface of the lake like a lotus leaf in a pond. From the gentle ripples beneath her feet, Li Tianming could tell that she was pretty strong, possibly stronger than Zhang Zixuan. "Of course we are sure, just grab it already. The razor-backed colossal crocodile may be back any time, and according to the rules we are not allowed to engage the crocodile," said the man with the longer beard. Beastmasters like them had already reached the peak of their cultivation, and there was no way any member of the younger generation could take a single hit from them. "Understood." The girl turned towards Li Tianming and denounced him. "I don't know where you're from, but I will make it clear that this mana here belongs to the Lightning Manor. One chance. Leave the mana here and walk off unharmed, or you will never make it out of this mountain alive. Must disciples of Lightning Manor always be so domineering and rude?" Li Tianming thought to himself, as he turned around and left without a single word. "You have sealed your own fate." His move angered the girl, who instantly went after him. At the same time, her lifebound beast was summoned from her lifebound space and dived straight into the lake. Her lifebound beast is water type. From the corner of his eyes, Li Tianming saw a massive blue fish with glittering scales. Other than a few pairs of eyes, there was also a spike protruding out of its head. This lifebound beast evidently excelled in underwater combat, and the lake was the most ideal arena for the girl. Within seconds, Li Tianming could feel the fish approaching him rapidly. In a single swift movement, the beast leapt out of the lake, its spike aimed directly at Li Tianming's back. Splash! Li Tianming dodged the attack with his movement arts, while the fish plunged back into the lake, ready for a second round of attack. Six-eyed flying fish, a 5-star water-type fish lifebound beast. Li Tianming could tell the species from one look at the number of eyes it had. Li Tianming continued his escape. He wasn't any weaker than the girl, but he needed to pick a better battlefield than that lake. The lake water gave a huge boost to both the girl and her fish's combat strength, and he would be stupid to fight there. Not to mention that he didn't have the little chick with him, effectively making this a 1 versus 2 battle. "You buffoon! I am Zhang Yilin of the Lightning Manor, and both my father and uncle are respected members of the Lightning Manor. If you do not stop and return the mana right now, your whole family will suffer the consequences of your action." The girl threatened, seeing that all of the six-eyed flying fish's lunges had missed. Meanwhile, Li Tianming had already made it onto land. "Do you think you are safe on land? I am at 8th level beast vein. Killing you is like squashing an ant." Zhang Yilin sneered as she too reached the shores. Behind her, her six-eyed flying fish had taken to the air. It could fly with its giant fins, so land or air combat was not an issue for it, just that it was not as strong as in water. "How dare you!" Realizing that words were not sufficient to make Li Tianming drop the mana, Zhang Yilin drew her aqua blood longsword and dashed towards Li Tianming. She saw no point in convincing him when she could just kill him and take the mana from his corpse. Her sword flashed out rapidly, sending out fierce blasts of sword ki at Li Tianming. It was the cascading waterfall sword art. An advanced beast rank sword art, the move aimed to have sword ki raining down on her opponents as if they were standing under a waterfall. At the same time, the six-eyed flying fish used the bestial art version of the move, the cascading waterfall strike. The spike on its head was as sharp as a bestial weapon, cutting through the air with enough speed to shatter a giant rock. Zhang Yilin was at 8th level beast vein. She was reaching the peak of the stage, and had power matching Lu Qianyang's. But Li Tianming had an abundance of eternal infernal beast ki running in his body right now, thanks to the resources he obtained in the mountain, and was definitely up for a challenge. As usual, he held his crimson blood dagger in his right hand, and his dark arm was clenched into a fist. After the previous fight, Li Tianming had gained a better understanding of his left arm that was covered with black hexagonal scales. If the pincers of the blue-tailed scorpion couldn't even scratch its surface, it meant normal bestial weapons couldn't deal any damage to it, his own crimson blood dagger included. With that, his dark arm could be used not only for dealing damage, but also for shielding him from most kinds of attacks. Things were looking rough for Li Tianming, who had to take on the two of them at once, but he himself was confident of his strength on land. As the six-eyed flying fish swooped towards him, Li Tianming used his ghost steps to dodge the strike and dashed towards Zhang Yilin. The girl met him head-on without fear, as she had already prepared her cascading waterfall sword art, showering Li Tianming with a hail of sword ki. Li Tianming's expressions were as calm as ever, raising his left arm to block Zhang Yilin's aqua blood long sword. Clang! The sound of metal clashing echoed through the forest. Li Tianming could barely feel any pain on his left arm, as if it was nothing but a bite from an ant. However, the impact from the attack had traveled from his arm to the rest of his body, throwing him off balance momentarily. After all, that was a 8th level beast vein stage attack. However, Zhang Yilin was dumbfounded. She intended to cut off Li Tianming's arm, but to her shock it barely made a scratch. That was definitely enough to tear his arm off even if it was coated in metal. Alas, there wasn't enough time for her to figure out what had happened. Li Tianming had blocked her attack and was ready to strike back. "Is that all you have? Then it's my turn now." In a fraction of a second, Li Tianming had launched his bloody soul hunt, a move that could dominate anyone from the beast vein stage. All Zhang Yilin could see was a crimson flash blinking towards her, as she dodged as fast as she could. Even so, she felt a burning sensation on her rosy cheeks, the crimson blood dagger scarring her face and slicing part of her hair off. "You bast!" Before she could curse Li Tianming, he had already punched his left fist out using Dragon Mammoth Heavy Strike. She tried to block it with her palm, but her attempt was futile and the strike landed straight on her abdomen. Blood flew out in an arc, as her body got launched by the impact. But before the knockback could launch her backwards, Li Tianming had already grabbed her by the waist and spun her around. With her back towards him now, Li Tianming pointed the crimson blood dagger at her throat and used her as a human shield. The six-eyed flying fish's cascading waterfall strike was about to hit Li Tianming, but at this rate it would kill its own Beastmaster first. With an awkward midair twist, the fish diverted its direction just in the nick of time. It then crash-landed onto the ground, its sharp spike buried deep into the rocky surface of the mountain. The battle was over. At just 6th level beast vein, Li Tianming pulled off a 1 vs 2 with a landslide victory and even managed to hold Zhang Yilin hostage. He decided to be smart about it this time, considering how he let Zhang Zixuan go the previous time and ended in more trouble. "You have no idea what you are doing, plebeian. You may be able to fight, but do you have any idea what Lightning Manor could do to you when they know that you injured me?" Zhang Yilin hissed, her face still distorted from the pain in her abdomen. "Just shut up already." With the crimson blood dagger controlling her life and death in one hand, Li Tianming grabbed her jaws with the other. Zhang Feeling was not done cursing at him, but with her jaws being clenched she could only make weird gurgling noises. That's enough. As expected, the two middle-aged men appeared before them. Both of them were staring at Li Tianming with intense killing intent. If he hadn't kidnapped Zhang Yilin, they would have shredded him to pieces already. Boy, you're still young, and you have no idea the power behind us. If you know about the lightning manor, you'd be crying and begging for mercy by now. Zhang Yilin's father, Zhang Tao, spoke in a gravelly voice. Nah, it's quite hard to make me cry. Li Tianming smiled. Oh, then you may die now. Chapter 23, Fortune is found amidst danger. Just as the two were about to take action personally, a jade pendant appeared in Li Tianming's hand. The royal clan's jade pendant. A green vermilion bird represents Princess Cheng. Zhang Tao was stunned. Li Tianming had never closely inspected the pendant before this, and gave it a look. Indeed, there was a green vermilion bird on it. Supposedly, vermilion bird life-bound beasts were a truly noble bloodline, all 6 stars at the minimum. I'm Princess Cheng's subordinate. Is there an issue with me taking this mana? Li Tianming asked. These people all didn't know who he was, which gave him leeway to play such tricks. It was quite effective. Someone who was Princess Cheng's subordinate would have impressive backgrounds themselves, and was definitely not some local bumpkin from around here. That explains your combat strength. Zhang Tao gritted his teeth, but his eyes betrayed his uncertainty. I've memorized your faces. If you dare fight over this mana with me, would you like to know what will happen when we return to Ignis Follies? Li Tianming asked mildly. Young sir, you must be joking. Our lightning manor would never dare. However, may I be so rude as to inquire about the identity of your father? Zhang Tao asked. My dad? He's a big shot, you definitely know him. Which expert may he be? Take a guess. Li Tianming waved the jade pendant dismissively and pushed Zhang Yilin out. Girls shouldn't be so violent, liking to kill and fight so much. Scandalous. Zhang Yilin turned white with rage, but she didn't dare voice her discontent. After all, even her father feared that jade pendant. Bye-bye. Li Tianming swaggered off with the mana. Dad, we can't let him go. What if that jade pendant was something he picked up? Zhang Yilin said urgently. Impossible. Princess Cheng would never lose such an item. Only someone she values much would be bestowed the royal clan's pendant. How would that boy have never been afraid of us from start to end if he wasn't secure in his backing? So what? We're going to let him walk away with our mana. Zhang Yilin said indignantly. What else? He was the one who snatched it from the razor-backed colossal crocodile after all. Although he was angry too, there was no way for him to vent. Soon after Li Tianming left, another 3 people rushed over to the lake's shore. The two parties exchanged a look. You got the mana, Zhang Yilin. The speaker was a delicate and pretty young man riding on a lightning-bolt cheetah, which quickly positioned itself in front of Zhang Tao's group. Hello, Uncle Zhang. The newcomer was Li Tianming. He blocked Zhang Yilin's path, but didn't forget to greet Zhang Tao. Along with him was Flamehaven Governor Li Yanfan, as well as his new wife, Lu Qing, holding hands together. Why has Uncle Zhang shown himself in the open? Li Tianming asked, slightly dissatisfied. When the younger generations were fighting over mana, the elders shouldn't show their face and instead just protect them from the shadows. Zhang Tao already wasn't in any good mood after losing the mana. A variable has appeared. The mana was taken by an outsider. How is that possible? Doubt flashed across Li Tianming's eyes. An outsider? This is the wild as well as Flamehaven territory. Why would there be an outsider here? Li Yanfan asked. They had come over after hearing the razor-backed crocodile as well as Li Yanfan had been aware that this lake was their destination. However, he hadn't expected to hear such a commotion just as he was about to arrive. It was a young man who claimed he was Princess Jing's subordinate. He had obtained the mana from the lake and my daughter couldn't beat him. I was just about to take back the mana before making a final decision on how to handle this when he took out Princess Jing's pendant. Zhang Tao sighed. The other party had a strong background, and lightning manners test for the younger generation this time round had ended up becoming a giveaway for outsiders. A senior of lightning manner had found the mana, but he hadn't taken action, leaving it to the juniors to fight over it. How strong is he? What's his life-bound beast? Lu Qianyang's face was getting uglier by the moment. He had been determined to obtain the mana, and had feared no competitor. However, this conclusion was like a bucket of cold water poured on him. He didn't use a life-bound beast. I suppose his cultivation would be roughly mine. Zhang Yilin kept her head lowered as she spoke. If you don't believe us, chase in that direction. He just left. Zhang Tao suddenly cut in. That's so. Lu Qing and Li Yanfen gave each other a quick glance. Seeing was believing after all, and the group of three hurriedly made their way in that direction. Dad, why did you let them go? It's going to be troublesome if Lu Qianyang gets the mana. No choice. We have to let them meet the young man. How else am I going to explain myself after this? If I have no one to back up my testimony, they may even believe I privately stashed away the mana. Anyway, if they snatch away the mana, that's offending the princess, said Zhang Yilin's uncle. Zhang Yilin nodded. I understand. How is that young man's strength compared to Lu Qianyang? He's definitely weaker with Lu Qianyang, even if he didn't use his life-bound beast just now. Lu Qianyang has broken through to spirit source after all. The person just now relied on that strange armor on his left arm to beat me. His beast key might have been scary as well, but it wasn't invincible. After leaving the lake, Li Tianming looped around to avoid being followed. Using the mysterious connection he shared with his life-bound beast, he felt the little chick approaching. The link also let them know each other was safe. The little chick appeared from the thicket, chortling. So, bro, got the mana? I'm telling you, I led that croc on a wild chicken chase this time. That lumbering thing couldn't even see the feathers on my tail. Pipe down. Li Tianming hurriedly stopped him. He wasn't sure whether anyone was following after all. How far did you lure the crocodile away? It shouldn't take long to return to the lake. Why? I encountered people from Lightning Manor after obtaining the mana. I managed to get out using the Princess Jade pendant. Li Tianming said thoughtfully. Then what are we waiting for? Let's skedaddle back to Flame Haven. The little chick was already salivating after seeing the mana. Li Tianming frowned. If we leave like this and you refine the mana, we're not going to have a chance to look at that well again. Let's go back to it. Fortune is found amidst danger. Li Tianming wasn't quite ready to give up on the well despite the circumstances. He had met up with the little chick, the razor-backed colossal crocodile had yet to return and Zhang Yilin's group was probably no longer hanging around. All the cards seemed to line up nicely for a chance. My third eye has an advantage inside the lake. As long as we go in, I don't think they can find us. Then let's go, go, go. This is exciting. It really didn't know what fear was. It too wanted to see if the mana could open the well. After making a giant loop back to the lake to avoid being followed, they discovered the crocodile indeed still wasn't back, while no one was around anymore. They quickly dived in. The lake was huge and their entry caused no disturbance. But just as they entered, Li Tianming noticed a youth riding a lightning bolt cheetah appear at the shore. Lu Qianyang. Li Tianming watched him, but he definitely didn't notice Li Tianming. Then, Li Yanfen and Lu Qing appeared. The bewitching beauty was dressed in tight-fitting clothes that showed off her curvaceous figure. Red Twill Mountain itself already had a hot climate, and her appearance only added to it. We didn't find Princess Jing's subordinate. Did Zhang Yilin point us in the wrong direction? Li Tianming said irritably. Possibly. They had returned to try and ask Zhang Yilin more questions, but they were no longer around. Li Tianming thanked the heavens that he had made a loop and made a narrow escape, or else he would have been caught. Then, something more fun happened. At this moment, on the far side of the lake, the razor-backed colossal crocodile happened to make its way back at this moment, and it immediately noticed the mana's absence. Alas, the lightning-bolt cheetah Li Tianming was riding was both a first-rate and large beast. It instantly aroused the crocodile's ire, which bellowed as it charged into the lake, leaving a spray of foam in its wake as it blitzed towards the cheetah. Chapter 24, Identity Exposed. The razor-backed colossal crocodile's return was nothing but a pleasant surprise for Li Tianming. The more ruckus it caused, the safer he would be. The razor-backed colossal crocodile had identified Li Tianming as the thief, and was ready to tear him into pieces. As for Li Tianming, he was safely hidden in the lake where no one could find him. The Lightning Manor had intended the razor-backed colossal crocodile to be part of the trial too. Thus, Li Yanfen couldn't interfere with the battle. As such, Li Tianming was in for a rough fight. Ha! Sucks to be him. The commotion outside was getting louder, but that didn't stop Li Tianming from diving deeper into the lake. Having been to the well once, he didn't take long to find it this time. Ignoring the commotion above the lake, Li Tianming produced the mana from his pocket, and inserted it directly into the keyhole. Clack! The mana fitted into the keyhole perfectly with a crisp sound. The mana was indeed the key to open this well. What's gonna happen next? The little chick was curious. Li Tianming was equally curious, but he didn't lower his guard. For all he knew, the well may contain monstrosities beyond his imagination. Moments later, a slit appeared in the middle of the slate, opening up rapidly to reveal the well's interior. A moment later, Li Tianming saw a pitch-black vortex at the bottom of the well, and before he could react, the vortex had sucked him into the well and devoured him completely. Seconds later, the slate closed back up, sealing the well as if nothing had ever happened here. Yet Li Tianming had completely vanished, gone from the world. As long as he didn't leave the well, he would have plenty of time to refine the mana. Sis, save me. Li Tianming was almost in tears. The razor-backed colossal crocodile was determined to hunt him and his life-bound beast down, and it was close to achieving its goals. The lightning-bolt cheetah had borne the brunt of the crocodile's wrath, its body covered in blood from the scratches by the crocodile's blades. I think we have to step in. Lu Qing's heart ached when she saw her brother being destroyed by the razor-backed colossal crocodile. According to the Lightning Manor's rules, the moment the two stepped in, their disciples would be disqualified. That was why they had refrained from helping unless it was absolutely necessary. Li Yanfen nodded. As the leader of Flame Haven, he was a reputable master from the southern borders of Vermilion Bird after all, and his level of cultivation was unmatched in the region. The razor-backed colossal crocodile was no different from a sheikling before his power. Li Yanfen pointed out his finger, and a flicker of white flame appeared on his thumb. With a flicking motion, the white flame shot towards the razor-backed colossal crocodile, piercing through its head. The crocodile was still chasing after the lightning-bolt cheetah when it got hit by the flame and collapsed on the spot, its body still sliding forward due to its momentum. Even before its body came to a complete halt, the white flame was spreading from its skull to the rest of its body, engulfing the beast with flame in seconds. A minute later, the three-star wild beast was completely wiped off from the face of the planet. Strangely, the flora and fauna around it was perfectly fine, as if the white flame could not hurt them at all. Yanfen, that was awesome. Wow, you really are so strong. Lu Qing exclaimed. Piece of cake. I will go search for that Princess Qing's subordinate, you focus on healing Qianyang for now. After instructing the two on what to do, Li Yanfen turned and left. Before this, he was reluctant to use his power to find the person as it was against the rules. But now that he had already killed the razor-backed colossal crocodile, he might as well forget about the rules and find the thief. I think it's fine if you interfere. The rules were meant for the disciples of Lightning Manor, and since it was an outsider that took it, we can decide on our next course of action after snatching it back. Lu Qing suggested. All right. Li Yanfen was confident of his capabilities. But there was no way he could have imagined that it was Li Tianming who robbed them of their mana. Sister, we cannot let this person run. This is my only chance. Lu Qianyang cried as he stared at his blood-stained life-bound beast. Don't worry, your brother-in-law will get that person. It took Li Yanfen a couple of hours to return, and even then his expressions were stern. Yanfen, where's the person? Lu Qing questioned. Gone. Li Yanfen was clearly unhappy with the results as well. How could that be? Don't you know every crook and cranny of Red Twill Mountain? You can't even find a teenager hiding here. Lu Qianyang's voice was filled with bitterness, as he yelled at Li Yanfen in disbelief. What about his mana? Calm down. Lu Qing gave her brother a fierce stare. Lu Qianyang was losing his mind over the mana, and if he knew that the person who took it was hiding right in the lake beside them, he would probably puke blood on the spot. I have searched everywhere, and I couldn't find this person. He must be quite good at hiding. Li Yanfen narrowed his eyes. Either that, or Zhang Tao made this person up to trick us. He won't dare to, he's not the type to play dirty and break the rules. Lu Qing shook her head. Hearing the conversation, Lu Qianyang got even more agitated. Then stop wasting time here and keep searching. Not only did they find the mana or the person who took it, he also got a beating from the crocodile. Lu Qianyang was holding grudges against his brother-in-law by now. Find Zhang Tao and Zhang Yilin, and we can ask him what that young man looks like. Li Yanfen came to a final conclusion. Fine. Lu Qing agreed, as the three of them reluctantly left to find the other groups. In half a day's time, Li Yanfen met up with Zhang Tao's group again. Following a series of arguments, the three of them had no choice but to believe that there were indeed a Princess Jing's subordinate around who took the mana and eluded Li Yanfen's capture. A day later, the six of them ran into another family of three, consisting of the Zhang Chong couple and Zhang Zixuan. What's with that sulky look, who got the mana? Zhang Chong could tell that something went wrong. The mana was located in Mirror Lake atop that hill, guarded by a 3-star razor-backed colossal crocodile. By the time we reached it, a random boy had already taken it away. Zhang Chong was flabbergasted. A random boy? Even if our younger ones couldn't overcome him, why don't y'all just take it back? How can you let a stranger touch our Lightning Manor's treasure? That boy had Princess Jing's jade pendant, do you dare to touch the princess's subordinate? Zhang Tao rolled his eyes. Princess Jing. Zhang Zixuan gasped. Did you see Princess Jing around? Surprised by Zhang Zixuan's reaction, the six clueless members stared at him anxiously. Yes, we did, and what did you say? A young boy, with Princess Jing's jade pendant. Zhang Chong was in shock too. Do you know that person? Li Yanfen inquired. Here's the story. A few days ago, we ran into this boy. Zhang Chong briefly explained the dispute between Li Tianming and Zhang Zixuan. After Princess Jing brought the boy away, she even gave him the jade pendant? What's so special about the boy for the princess to treat him so well? Zhang Chong was still trying to fully comprehend what had happened. Have you all seen this boy? Are there special any features about him? Or could he really just be a plebeian from nearby? Li Yanfen's brows were twisted into a single line. It's hard to describe what he looks like. Zhang Yilin's group had run into the boy too. He has a little chick as a life-bound beast. A tiny yellow one. Zhang Zixuan supplemented with more details that he could remember. What? The Li Yanfen trio jumped up in shock. A month ago, a particular little chick had left them a strong impression, and it was quite impossible to find another life-bound beast as special as that one. Are you sure? Li Tianming was breathing heavily, his face as red as an apple. Describe his looks in greater detail. Zhang Tao and Zhang Chong each took their turn to describe the young man, and they came to a conclusion as all the information came together. Li Tianming, it must be him. Li Tianming. Li Tianming could not understand how someone that he had despised so much could possibly spoil his plan and ruin his trip to the Red Twill Mountain. Isn't he just at 7th level beast vein? How did he defeat Zixuan and Yilan then? Lu Qing was still doubtful, despite all the evidence that was pointing towards the truth. He reached Spirit Source before, and has some degree of battle experience. He must have used some tricks to get the mana. Li Yanfen stared into the distance. His mind had went blank momentarily when he heard that name earlier on, and even now, his voice was still a lot coarser. Li Tianming, his own son, coming to spoil his plans again and again. He had already promised Li Tianming to get the mana for him, but Li Tianming was here to disturb him yet again. If Li Tianming managed to get the mana, what would Li Tianming think of his brother-in-law then? A governor that let his own son ruin his plans not once, but twice. What's next? Li Tianming was so pissed off that he couldn't even control the disappointment in his voice. He will eventually return to Flame Haven, and when that happens we just have to stop him halfway. Rest assured, he is the last person I will hand the mana over to, Li Yanfen hissed, looking towards Flammehaven's direction. Why would he return if he had gotten the mana? Li Tianming tossed out the question that the rest of the crew had in mind as well. Li Yanfen did not respond to that. He had no intention to tell them that the sickly Wei Jing was still in Flame Haven and Li Tianming needed to pick his mother up. Did you mention that this boy used a blood pact to get himself a 1-star wild beast? Zhang Tao asked. That is correct. Then there's nothing to worry about. No 1-star life-bound beast could refine a mana. This boy's efforts are futile. That sentence made Li Tianming a lot calmer. Even if we don't find him on the way back, he will make his way back to Flame Haven within a week's time. Li Yanfen finally managed to appease the group, bringing the discussion to an end. Part 2 of the series ends here. If you enjoyed it, please give us a like and subscribe so we can be motivated to make even better videos in the future.